X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who spit facts online all the time. Can you see it? All the ones who drag my name every single day. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? They keep saying you don't have what it takes to carve out your own name underneath the shadows of gods. And I keep waiting for the day disbelievers say I flew way too close to the sun. I wait, but it never really comes. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all right shackled minds. Why do they just in arrogance when they fall from the battles I have overcome? You feel it, feel the cope and the seething tone that they make while I stand up, man among gods. And I keep thinking with my mill, shooting ropes in my cold that faces towards the sun. They hate, but I'm sitting comfy with their mom. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all that shackled mind. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A spell that attracts all who speak facts online all the time. The X in my name is not just a symbol or a target sign. A force that compels all to rebel from all right shadowed minds. It's you and me, your mom, it's me. I'll take another hit from my name. You see now, watch me right now, punch your things now. Let me show you how.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. It's so good to see all of you. Man, I really wish I could see my, gain balancing before I start the stream. Because, man, it is... Oh, it's because the exposure is... Ah, that explains it. The exposure was set to auto. There we go, and now I can manually set it to the proper exposure. Woo! What is up, everybody? Hello, hello. It is good to see all of you. Welcome. Howdy. Good to see you, Trans Goddess Rosie Star. How you doing? Pufflecakes, good to see you as well. Perry Icefire, what is up? Astronaut Lad 172, good to see you. TSW Shadow Wolf, how are you doing? Good to see you again. Onyx Therian, how are you? Hey. War Penguin, good to see you. Alex Wooten, welcome back. Snake Lover, hey there. You were the earliest chatter. Canova Striker, what's up? A Shining Soul, how are you? Lord Rose, 97, good to see ya. Wingo, I'm glad to see you are alive. Thank God, I was worried about you. How did you handle the hurricane? It hit hard south of Tampa. Like south of Sarasota? Oh my God. The damage is unbelievable, dude. Holy shit. I'm glad you're okay, Wingo. I was worried about you. I assume you just got power back. Wow, it's been too long since I caught a Zan live stream. I'm glad YouTube decided to tell you I'm live today. Or I'm glad you decided to hop in if they have generally. My grand neighbor's son is in Sarasota. Or you mean your neighbor's grandson is in Sarasota, is I think what you mean. Yeah, that I hope they're okay. Nice, Wingo. Hell yeah, Keenor something. I'm happy you got yourself some bisexual lighting. I'm proud of you. No, he's like my substitute grandpa. Oh, okay. I didn't know what you meant by that. I thought it was just a mix-up in typing. My bad. Hell yeah, Puffle Cakes. That's awesome. I'm proud of you. Okay, let's not go that far, Wingo. We're not gonna kneel. I just realized the lights are off. Nice. So, unfortunately, I am still cold turkey. Like 3 days now, no Monster Energy, no caffeine whatsoever, and it's hitting me pretty hard. But I've cold turkey quit caffeine multiple times. All right, like it is not that hard, right? And so, you know, feeling a little under the weather, a little down, but overall, I'm just kind of tired, you know. But some point today, I should have a new case of Monster arriving from Walmart. Left on my stoop out front, so I'm gonna be listening as best I can through my headphones, and if I hear them arrive, I'll make sure to go grab one during my next bathroom break. Did you see Harris and Biden both threatened price gougers taking advantage of the hurricane? Yeah, War Penguin, I've seen that. Biden and Kamala Harris have been really on top of it, and I think these hurricanes and the way that Kamala and Biden have responded to the situation could very well be a massive point in Kamala Harris's, like, column this election. I feel like it could win her some southern states that she might not have otherwise won. Or at least get her closer to winning. Maybe it won't be a full-on victory state-wise, but maybe we see it go a little more purple than expected. It's like, well, that's progress, you know? Yeah, Monster Energy basically is liquid crack. That is a very good way to put it. Yo, Puffle Cakes, I just want to say thank you for the tier 2 sub. Says, am back, y'all. Hug spin. Hell yeah, welcome back, Puffle Cakes. By the way, how many months is that? I don't want to undercredit you. What a fantastic way to start off the stream, though. I thank you. I really do appreciate it. It helps a lot. 1 monther. Hell yeah, thank you, Puffle Cakes. The $10 helps a ton. Thank you. I hope you enjoy your purple name. Let me update the dono goal really fast. Now, if you guys want to support the stream, but you don't want to drop money on the stream, which is totally understandable, because that, you know, it can $5 is the minimum, and that's, you know, a lot of money. That could be a meal, right? That could be a snack for you. That could be something you buy at the grocery store. It could be like a game you buy on Steam, you know? So I get it. If you want to support the stream, though, for completely free, consider dropping a like. It is completely free, like I said, and takes just a second. Please consider dropping a thumbs up. It really, really helps a ton. Totally free, really helps a lot, means a ton. I actually had someone mention recently that they dropped a like on one of my streams, or one of my old videos that hasn't been really watched or commented on in a long time, and they noted that after they dropped a like on the video and came back a couple hours later, for the first time in like a year, there were multiple new comments. Just because one single person watched an old video and dropped a like on it, and it was the first like in a long time. It really goes to show the power that one like has. So I really do appreciate every single one of the likes that you guys send out. Thank you guys. Seriously, it means a lot. I'm thinking that for Halloween, how cool would it be if me and Ethan streamed a co-op playthrough of Dying Light 1? I played through a bit of it a long time ago, and Ethan's blind on it. but really likes the lore from what he's heard of the story, because he likes the sort of political espionage side of things. So I'm wondering if that could be a cool game to stream for Halloween. What do you guys think? Thoughts on that idea? I'll watch it? Hell yeah. Had you saw what I put in the media channel in the Discord? Probably not, Transgoddess Rosie Star. I don't check the media channel all that often. Dying Light 2 is better? It's alright, but I'm more of, I mean, I like Dying Light 2, but if we're gonna play a Dying Light game, we should play Dying Light 1. Especially since, let's be real, Dying Light 1 leans a lot harder into the horror. It's gonna set the atmosphere for Halloween better than Dying Light 2 will. I love Dying Light 2. It's what I'm playing off stream right now. But Dying Light 1, man, that game's so scary. I don't play the game when it's nighttime. I don't think you're supposed to. Wi-Fi is still shoddy. I'm sorry, Wingo. I hope things are still, you know, working out for you. I'm glad you're safe. The grappling hook in Dying Light 1 is insane, lol. Yeah, but very fun. And to be fair, it was insane in Dying Light 2 until they nerfed it. I really like the place that Dying Light 2 is in right now. It's in a really good place. There's definitely some issues, and a problem that's been with the game since launch that I don't get how they haven't fixed yet. Because they patched the game and added so many things. How have they not fixed this, like, basic problem? The military evacuation convoys will sometimes have, like, visible but completely non-existent, non-attackable, non-attacking ghost zombies they just kind of make it hard to tell when you've cleared out the area so you can, like, start looting the convoys. And it's also a little unsightly to have such a crazy, obvious bug so late into the game's existence. I was hoping that would have been patched by now, and when I recognized it in-game, I was like, really? 2 years later? Just a pet peeve of mine, though, with Dying Light 2. I'm sure they'll fix it. Dying Light 2 used to have just random ghost zombies in general. Was fun to just randomly be attacked, then can't see anything. No, I don't mean, like, the invisible zombies. That was a thing, I think. But I mean, like, yeah, there was a time where some howlers were non-existent, and you just see them twitching there as, like, almost a hologram of a howler. They wouldn't do anything. I've gotten that occasionally. But now it only happens to the military convoys, but that's where it always happened the most. So I feel like it's so repeatable. It's hard to believe that they don't know about it. They couldn't have fixed it yet. I wonder what causes it. It's such a weird bug. But, you know, I really like Dying Light 2. I am a Dying Light 2 defender, to be clear. Anyway. Red Scare, thank you for the $10 donation. I really appreciate that. Extremely kind of you and very much welcome and appreciated. So Dollary Dues. Hell yeah, Dollary Dues. Thank you. You guys are making this a great stream to start off. Saying, also, Running Rab, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that as well. Says, hello. Just wanted to drop in to wish you a good stream. Oh, well, thank you so much. It really means a lot. Thank you for the $5, and thank you for the well wishes of a good stream. I think I am going to have a good stream now. Because of you. I'm going to have a good stream now. You have spoken it into reality. Oh, Keener or something. I mean, I played it on release, so I'm surprised that you had that bug. I never had that. One of my favorite things to do on Dying Light 2's launch was to raid the Dark Hollows and the Forsaken Stores and to collect as many of the crystals as I could. Those things are very valuable. And money is one of the most valuable things in the game. You can use that to buy so many Molotovs. Oh my god. I love Molotovs in that game. And they added guns to it too. Oh man, that's gonna be Listen. All the volatiles better not show up to the Dark Hollow tomorrow, alright? Once I get the assault rifle in Dying Light 2, the volatiles better not be in the Dark Hollow when I show up, daytime or night. or it's going to be a bad time for them. They're going to become trophies that I'm going to turn in for upgrades to my weapon modifications. Oh man, I love that game. Dying Light is genuinely, I need that genre, I need that to be a genre. Like, I feel like the first of it was Mirror's Edge, but I need the idea of like parkour, first-person combat. Like that needs to be like a much larger and more explored genre. I've been playing Green Hell, but I plan on playing Dying Light 1 next. It's really good for Halloween. I want to try Green Hell. It looks really cool. The healing animations are famously really neat. And I love survival games, but I like ones that give a little bit of direction on what to do next, so you're not completely lost. Because I don't like to have to look at external sources on what I'm supposed to do, and I also don't like spending hours aimlessly exploring in a game anymore, unless I know I'm going to find cool stuff, right? Best gun in Dying Light 2 is the golden shotgun. Hell yeah, I need to find that then, Bolt Sidorov. I did not know that existed, to be honest. Alrighty. Let me update the Dono Goal Arena to reflect you guys' generosity. Y'all are so kind. I've mostly been playing Cult of the Lamb. I've never played that, but I heard it's good. Have you heard about the archive.org attack, Zan? I have, actually. I've been wondering if I should cover it. I'll probably cover it next stream if I do. But yeah, apparently hackers are attacking the web archive. Not really sure why, other than to be assholes. I guess it's just to make more things be lost media. I'm playing Satisfactory right now. Hell yeah, Snake Lover. I hope you enjoy. Have I tried Darkest Dungeon? I have not tried Darkest Dungeon, but it seems neat. It seems neat. We'd have another movement shooter by now if they would stop updating Apex Legends for 5 minutes. Yeah, but I mean, another studio could make that. Link, General Brash of Helldivers, the new Chuck Norris? What? Oh, people are making Chuck Norris copy pastas about General Brash in Helldivers. Yeah, I love these.
Made by Gray Rebus. He's basically just for fun, he's made this post about it, and as you can see, it's blown up a little bit. It's got 13,000 upvotes, 13.1 now, and a lot of comments. Let's start by looking at some of the ones he said. General Brush once killed 7 charges with a railgun, and then he reloaded.
Whoa.
A Hulk once set General Brush on fire. Several days of agonizing pain afterwards, the Hulk dies. Instead of a Hellpod launcher, General Brush has a diving board installed in his personal super destroyer. Enemy artillery gets a warning of being in General Brush's range. General Brush detected. Death had a near General Brush experience once. That is exactly the same as one of the Chuck Norris ones. I love that. Enjoy that. But
These
General
are all
Brush
Chuck Norris.
Sleeps with a pillow underneath his gun. The gun sleeps with General Brush under his pillow. I love this. Automatons check under their bed for General Brush. General Brush even met her John Helldiver once. General Brush doesn't need to run to the Pelican. The enemies will be happy to let him extract in peace. The Factory Strider is just fabricators' ways of trying to run from General Brush. General Brush was born on the Super Destroyer he built himself. Orbital Precision Strike was the academy name for General Brush playing darts. Children check under their beds at night for automatons. Automatons check under the bed at night for General Brush. General Brush doesn't use eagles because he carries all the bombs on his back. These are some good ones. Okay, I like this one. General Brush has already died twice. Death has yet to summon the guts to tell him. The dinosaurs looked at General Brush the wrong way once. You know what happened to them. Orbital Rail Cannon is General Brush throwing a random pebble he found stuck in the bottom of the boot. Holy shit. General Brush can play Helldivers 2 on Xbox. No way. There are actually 3 body types. Lean, Brawny, and Brash. His physique is its own category. Brash once pissed his name into concrete. God damn. He once strolled into the bathroom on his Super Destroyer, muttering, "deploying Hellbomb," and that gave the R&D guys an idea. General Brush's tears can wipe out a terminate infestation on the planet. Too bad he's never cried. General Brush can win an extract civilians mission on Helldiver by himself. That is literally impossible unless you're General Brush. General
That's so good. I love that video. My cheeks hurt from smiling so much watching that. God, half of you don't even understand any of those references. Gonna play Phasmophobia in VR this Halloween, definitely. Dude, that shit is scary as fuck to me. I played that once, and I could not enter the house, like, beyond the foyer for, like, 5 seconds, because it was so real. I was like, no, 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 fuck this. Absolutely not. My heart is pounding just from walking into the house. I might actually die of a heart attack if a ghost jumps me here. No, no. And so, that was the situation there. Dude, the foyer. Yes. I love calling it the foyer. Y'all are clearly not from Florida like I am. Go ahead and put your bags down in the foyer. Is that not how you say it? Oh, that goes hard. That goes hard. I hope you're playing into my meme, Juno was mad. Man, my eyes do be heavy today. I hope my Monster Energy arrives. I don't even think I'm all that tired, because I actually got a lot of sleep last night. I think it's just, the no caffeine. One sec. I'm pretty sure it's pronounced foyer, just like how you pronounced it. The R in soda is pronounced like soder. I know. I know it's pronounced foyer. But, I like calling it foyer. Put it down in the foyer. You're quitting caffeine or just haven't had it? I just haven't had it, hit the mat. I forgot to order some before I ran out, and sometimes they delay orders whenever you make them, particularly for a whole case of Monster. I don't know why. It's like the world is running out of it or something. Caffeine withdrawal hurts? Yeah, it does. Not fun. Yeah, you pronounce soda soder. That's how it's properly pronounced. Harry, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? Why'd you say that, E-Man? Why'd you post that? I'm glad you did, because it's funny. Dumbledore asked calmly. And then in the movie, he's screaming and, like, knocking things over to grab Harry and shake him. Like, did you put your name in the goblet of fire? That did not translate over well. They changed up that scene a bit in the movie, gotta say. Didn't translate over 100% from the book, you know? Not 100%. Anyway, I think here is a good time for us to start with the first segment of the day. Let me have a sippy first, though, because I'm thirsty. Let me bring up the tabs for this segment. Bum 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 bum. Alrighty. Oh boy. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1. Action. Alright, everybody. So, this topic is a little sad for me. It's a little depressing, because I knew this is what was going to happen, but seeing it all with my own eyes, seeing the kind of thing that I wouldn't even imagine would be realistic to expect out of a hurricane or any natural disaster anywhere that I've lived, to see it happen and for it to be real and to know it's real is a level of surreal that's just impossible to explain. I've seen videos of cities get all kinds of fucked up all over the world. It hits different when you're looking at where you grew up. Now, I moved away from Florida, far away from Florida, a few years back, but I grew up 21 years of my life. From the time I was born till my 21st birthday, I grew up in Florida. And I liked it there in a lot of ways, but I also disliked a lot of things about it. And one of the things I did not like was the fact that it was becoming obviously less and less livable year by year. One of the biggest reasons for this is climate change. It's getting hotter. ACs break down multiple times a summer, leaving you stuck in the hot, humid air. And hurricanes come and knock out your power, potentially flood your house, and cause tons of property damage. It wasn't the kind of place I wanted to stay. Sadly, there are still a lot of people who are there. I've got friends and family who are there, and they are still subject to the insane, escalating weather events that are coming in. Now, I've got a few videos I want to show you guys. I did cover the aftermath of Hurricane Milton yesterday, but there wasn't a lot of information. The media was mostly focusing on that one fallen crane and the stadium getting its top ripped off, which is, that's huge. That shows you an idea of how bad the winds were. But there was so much damage and on such a massive scale, and it's so lasting and seemingly permanent damage. I don't know how they're going to recover. I don't know how swaths of Florida are going to be recovered and made livable again anytime soon. Apparently, my old neighborhood, Hernando Beach, where I grew up, got so fucked up during the hurricane that FEMA is providing all of the people that lived there trailers to set up on their lots and properties while they rebuild, because apparently the damage was so bad FEMA needed to give them trailers to live in so they could have something to stay in while they rebuild their houses, which is fucking dope, by the way, that FEMA is going that far and providing portable houses like the kind you would study in school to the people who've lost their homes, so they have something to live in while they remodel their homes and rebuild. Because the only not downside, but the only catch is it has to be your primary residence. So this is a service offered to people whose only home has been destroyed by the hurricane, which is obviously who it should be for. So the super wealthy landlords and vacation homeowners don't qualify for it, but the people who had their one and only home that lived there, they are being provided literal housing. Here is a trailer by FEMA. So that goes pretty hard. It is sad that this entire thing has happened in the first place, but I'm going to start by I'm going to introduce you to escalating levels of damage from Hurricane Milton. When I tell you that it's now, the parts of America going underwater that were previously fully inhabited by people, and that can no longer be so, it's happening now. And I'm kind of speechless and at a loss of words here, because it's just so heartbreaking. So I'm just going to start. I've got 3 videos queued up, okay? This first one is from a Christian YouTube channel on centered in Sarasota, Florida, called The Superior Word. Obviously, I'm not a Christian. I'm not really into religious content, but apparently this guy's church is going to be providing aid to the community and already had been after Hurricane Helene. He seems like a pretty good guy, and the fact that he is using his platform that he has made through his religious content to show off the devastation of the hurricane and bring to attention what, frankly, mainstream media is neglecting to, with focusing on the stadium and the collapsed crane in Tampa itself. It's dude, it's bad. So I'm going to start by showing you guys the least bad damage, which is Sarasota and Tampa, Florida. This particular video is in Sarasota. The beginning we're going to see is inland. Oh, it started playing the instant I put it into full screen. The beginning of the video is inland, maybe like 5 miles inland from the coast during the hurricane in the night. And then as the hurricane settles down and the sun starts to rise, they walk from 5 miles inland to the coast, to Siesta Key, which is a big little like barrier island where a bunch of it's a little beach town on Siesta Key. That is where they're walking to, and it's just get ready to see something that doesn't look real to be America. Like, this doesn't look like it's America. And this is the least bad damage that there is right now. We're escalating in damage as this video goes on. Not this one, my video, because I'm going to be showing you multiple. We're seeing the least severe damage that I am showcasing in this video. Keep that in mind when you see some stuff later on, because you're not going to believe it when you see how bad things are in this video, that it gets worse. So this is the hurricane itself.
We're in the eye of the storm.
Boy.
Resident. Can't drive over even for residents.
We get a few sneak peeks.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Why would they? That's
Total devastation in that guy's place.
oh my goodness.
Hurricane Milton made landfall in Sarasota as a Category 3,
devastating.
a direct hit to Siesta.
Sarasota might literally be one of my favorite cities in Florida, by the way. I really love Sarasota. Before this, obviously, the water was really clear for just a big city's coast in Florida. And there was this really nice restaurant on the coast. I don't know if it's probably around here, if I were to guess. And me and my mom went there. And we went to eat at the restaurant out in the back area, and I saw that the water was like ridiculously blue and clear. And I was like, I'm going to jump in. My mom was like, you're not going to jump into that. And I was like, watch me. And then I did. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah, all right. And I just swam around while I waited for our food to arrive. And then I ate, and then I hopped back in. And there were people pulling their boats up and like gutting these giant fucking fish. They were long. I don't even know what they were. It might have been tuna. But these big, long fish, and they were throwing the guts in the water, and there were like big fish coming to eat them, and I had some, goggles on because I was on the swim team. I always had goggles in the car, so I was able to put on goggles and just look under the water and see it. Was it still water? No, Roxagon. I'm talking like a restaurant on the beach. Like, it's got like a little dock where you could eat, and the water was so clear and blue, it surprised me. I wasn't expecting it to look like almost postcard level pretty, and it must have just been a really clear, nice day there for the water. But I jumped in and started swimming, and it was like nicer than most beach water in Florida. Like, the only beach water I can think of in Florida that's better is the Keys, some in Miami, and maybe Destin, like up in the Panhandle. You would be on the swim team, Zan? Yeah, I was on the swim team. I love swimming. Anyway, back to the video. Just giving you some idea.
The beach, as it moved northeast past the neighborhood where we boarded up and prepared to ride it out. This location is 15 miles away from the shore, so we should be okay. However, my friend Charlie is much closer to the shore, so I plan on heading out there first thing early morning to check up on him. But before we head out to Siesta Key, I wanted to share with you what it is like to ride out a Hurricane Category 3. Before the hurricane arrived, we made sure to board up all the windows and fill in any gaps to prevent water leak.
Water.
We made sure to have extra water, extra ice, a generator, and
It's going to be a nightmare when, like, Category 5 hurricanes can be sustained over Florida. That's when we're going to see, like, cities destroyed. Like, legitimately, like, toppled skyscrapers after hurricanes is when the hurricanes can sustain Cat 5 and push all the way through the state. If that's ever possible because of climate conditions, I'm not joking, Florida's wiped off the map after like 2 or 3 storms. Like, legitimately. Like, every storm that hits Florida, by the time it gets a couple miles inland, it dies down to a Category 3, 2, or a 1, or even into a tropical storm before. Most of the time, they don't even exist as hurricanes by the time they hit the coast. Usually they're hurricanes out in the Gulf or out in the Caribbean, and they like downgrade to a tropical storm before they hit the coast. The fact that we're getting Cat 3s hitting the coast and making it inland is fucking insane. Like, just as a Floridian, I'm telling you, that is fucking insane. And if this escalates to the point where Cat 5s can sustain themselves across the width of the state, dude, a few storms like that is all it takes, and Florida is dismantled as a place where human life can exist. Like, basically, America would have to recolonize the state. I'm not joking. It would become, like, the geography would be changed. Certain areas of the state would have to be designated off as, like, wetland permanently because it cannot be retaken safely. I'm not joking. Like, Florida is going to be one of the first places to go because of climate change due to its low sea level and the fact that it's built up with sand, and we've destroyed, I say we've, but humans have destroyed the barrier reefs and other natural barriers that are meant to protect Florida from hurricanes. Notably, there are a lot of oyster beds that form these, rocky kind of like current stoppers that help to break up the turf. And then on top of that, you've got the surf, not the turf. I'm thinking surf and turf right now. My mouth's watering. And then you've got like the mangrove islands, which have been significantly destroyed due to human activity. There's a lot of natural things that existed a long time ago that protected us from these potential outcomes. But it's not just been us increasing global temperatures. We've also been destroying the environment, and that's the very environment that's been evolved and built up to save us from these things. We've fucked ourselves in so many different ways that we don't even know. We have to start reversing course, like, really hard, like global carbon negative footprint, like removing carbon from the atmosphere every year. We need to be doing that like really soon. Like by 2035, I think is like the last tipping point that we have before it's like, well, we did our best.
Tuck in all the large objects that could fly. Just an FYI, none of these preparations would have made any difference for the folks in Siesta Key, and you'll see soon why. But out here, it's possible to ride it out.
He means that,
Just
by the way.
Just an FYI, don't expect to find any gas or plywood on the day before.
Jesus. That is something
Expect to find any gas or
out of
plywood on the
a
day
zombie
before.
apocalypse movie. Home Depot is fucking empty, bro. Home Depot is fucking empty. Everyone uses plywood. I wonder why no one's willing to use 2x4s. I guess because you have to, like, really sink a screw or a nail into your stuff, but I feel like you'd have to do that anyway. I feel like at this point, you might as well put up permanent shutters with 2x4s. They're going to be stronger.
This happened, so it's pointless. Better get. Oh my God!
When the hurricane made landfall, we felt 90 miles per hour winds. But at 9 p.m., the eye of the storm, the very center of it, moved right on top of us.
We've just hit the eye, and we're in
I will
the
be
eye of
talking
the
about that,
storm.
War Penguin.
The whole neighborhood is out there.
So this is a Florida tradition. You're probably like, what the fuck? Why is the entire neighborhood in the street? This is a Florida tradition. Big hurricane comes, and you're in the eye of the storm. Basically, imagine you're in hell. There is massive winds everywhere. The wind is coming down, or the rain is coming down super sideways. Everything is flying around. And then all of a sudden, within about 30 seconds to a minute, everything calms down. You're like, to stillness. Complete stillness. Your ears pop a little bit because the pressure changes in the air. And you're like, what the fuck? Is the storm over? Did we do it? Did we survive? No. You're in the eye of the storm. And for like the next 5 minutes, maybe, it's going to be dead calm where you are until the storm passes back over and you're on the other side of the eye and the wind is going to resume, but in the opposite direction because you're on the opposite side of the vortex. A hurricane is basically like a giant vortex or a giant tornado. Xander Hall, good. I listened to that today and it was heartbreaking. Yeah, it's very sad how Trump is taking advantage of these people. He's killing his own
And,
supporters.
It's so surreal. It's so quiet. You can't hear anything in the eye. Unbelievable. It was 95, maybe 90 miles an hour winds, and suddenly it's
Look
quiet.
how still it is
And
in
we're
the eye of the storm.
It's coming back again in a few minutes, but for now, there's a little bit of peace.
It's
We
so
spent a
still,
few minutes assessing
you
the
just
damage
hear
in the
crickets.
neighborhood.
There's some extensive damage here. Some pieces of the roof blew all the way to the end of the street. Some stuff are down, but the eye is over, and now we're starting to get the winds back again. So better get back home.
But the important part is that everyone was okay.
So this is
As
about
we
5
hunkered
miles
down,
inland.
the winds blew 90 miles an hour
and not
again.
near a river.
By the exact
Remember that
opposite
little
direction.
detail.
That's what happens after the eye passes, as the direction of
Look
the
at
wind
that.
changes.
Imagine you're inside that. Like, you are on the ground, and your house is down there, and the hurricane is slowly passing over. You go from being over this insane wind vortex with like, insane torrential rain, and then all of a sudden you're under this hole in the storm, and it's just dead quiet. You can technically get in a car and follow the eye of the storm and stay out of the brunt of it yourself. That is theoretically possible. I think people have done it before. I bet it's possible in a plane, but yeah, birds do it. That doesn't surprise me. But you're basically trapped until it, spins itself out. Yeah, you might end up in Kansas, though.
But thankfully, nothing else major happened here. So I took a 3-hour nap and headed out around 4:30 in the morning to check up on a few dear people.
I'm gonna go around.
So now they're going to go towards the coast where the damage is going to get
First, I made a
progressively
stop
worse.
at my parents' condo to make sure they were
Exponentially
okay, as we
worse.
lost all communication since last night. This is a common problem during strong hurricanes. Power, water, and communications may and usually go out.
Okay, they're good.
Driving on the roads is extremely dangerous, especially when it's dark. I almost ran into a huge palm tree.
Oh my goodness.
Fallen palm
thank you,
tree
Lord.
in the middle of the road.
As I kept going, there were
blocking
a
off
lot of
2
obstacles
lanes.
on the way, including one large stoplight completely snapped in half.
I ain't going
So-
under this.
Something that's going to start to set in for you guys as you start to realize not just the severity of the damage as he gets towards the coast, but once you start to realize the scale of the damage, the fact that it spans such a large area, that's when you're going to get to my realization of, like, I don't know how, like, we're going to see even, like, 10% of this damage repaired by the end of the year. Like, a lot of Floridians are spending this Christmas homeless, and that is fucking heartbreaking, but that's the realization that's setting in, because this is not a 2 or 3 month repair. This is a year plus worth of recovery, and by the time they're halfway recovered, the next big one's going to be here. And I don't know if these areas can ever recover. I'm legitimately telling you, I don't think a lot of the areas that we're going to see in these videos are ever going to look how they did before Hurricane Helene again. I think Hurricane Helene, any videos, photos of those areas before that hurricane are going to be the last snapshot of a lot of these areas of Florida before they became truly unlivable, because I'm pretty certain they're going to try to recover, and it's going to come back, and slowly houses are going to get abandoned, and and property values are going to drop. That's going to lead people out, and these areas are just going to leave. You guys see the river flooding in Pasco County right now? John Miller, trust me, I know about the flooding of the cresting river in Pasco County. There's multiple cresting rivers in Florida where the towns are still receiving water. The water won't recede, and they're flooded. So we're going to get into that as well, don't worry. But like I said before, we're escalating to the more severe damages later in this video. Right now, this video showcases some of the least severe damage from the hurricane.
Thing we're going through here.
The least severe
But I
of the
finally
severe
made my
damage,
way
I
to
should
Charlie.
say.
Hey, Charlie. I can't believe you came.
This is where his buddy stayed, because his place got fucked. His place was on the beach, and we're gonna see it in a bit.
There was green arcing lights over here. It was the whole sky lit up.
Wow.
The green arcing lights were probably power lines falling down.
Go down to the 2nd Street.
Charlie evacuated Siesta Key this time around, but we still wanted to go there to see how bad the damage is. But before getting there, we made a quick stop at our church to make sure it's doing well.
Okay, it looks okay.
Yeah,
If
owning
we have
property,
power, we'll be open
like
Sunday
for a
morning.
business or
And the
something like
damage in
that,
the
has
whole
got to be
Gulf Gate
stressful.
area seemed to be minimal. Having said that, I couldn't help but feel uneasy standing here, thinking we have no idea if our little beloved barrier island is still there. So without any further delay, we started
Those
driving
lights
to
are
Siesta
fires,
Key.
by the way.
They do have
That orange
channel
light is
open,
from
which
fires.
means they're letting some people on.
But as we approached the bridge, there was a blockade by Sheriff's Department stopping people from entering the key.
We're resident.
All right, so we can't drive over even for residents. But
Okay.
if you guys want to park, over here, you can walk. Otherwise, no vehicles until there's a handful of fires and the National Guard's out there.
To be fair, this is for them and their vehicle's sake. You're gonna see very soon you can't take a vehicle through where they're going. You gotta go by foot.
Right now, it's pretty banged up, but you're more than welcome to park and walk. I know that's a really...
That's no problem.
Okay,
It's
all
up to
right.
him. If he wants to walk, we'll walk.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Learning my lesson from last time, I actually took shoes. And wow, what a difference this is going to make.
Make sure you don't step on a nail or something.
As we crossed the
Broken
bridge,
glass.
we started to see
That's the real
damage.
thing. After a really bad hurricane, you gotta be careful because there's generally broken glass all over the fucking place. You gotta wear shoes when you walk outside anywhere after a hurricane because there's broken glass everywhere. So wear some like steel toe work boots.
What is that? It's a carpet or something.
The trees are standing. This one is bent.
Oh, that one's down. Look at he's down.
They're like walking
Look at it,
towards the
snap it
coast
right
right
in
now.
half.
No way.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
look
watch
at
as the
that.
damage
Wow,
gets
imagine
worse
the
and
strength
worse
of
and
this.
worse.
Wow.
They're on a bit of a hill right now.
Oh.
Now they're getting down into the little town.
Ooh.
Yeah, he'll have to.
Oh, sand again.
Yeah.
So water came in.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yes, Cammy Whammy.
Yeah, those cables.
Look at that, guys.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
Right down the road here and ended up right here. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Still flooded.
This is not looking good.
No.
So 2 weeks ago, they just. So there was also torn 2 weeks ago, and now.
What I'm saying is it's a new pizza place.
Oh.
It just opened. He bought the place, and so just a couple weeks ago.
All flood. It's a lake.
Yeah.
It's a lake in
That
there.
always floods. Even during the summer, we can have flooding there.
The deeper into the key we went, the worse it got.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So that's what we're
You're
gonna
about
be
to
walking
see.
in porta potty water.
Potty water. And Charlie's
So yeah,
barefoot.
this is the thing you got to remember. This water. Now they're on the coast, like really up on the coast. I don't think there's any still like fresh water around, so they don't have to worry about it much. Like honestly, sharks are the big worry in this water. Though honestly, your big concern is getting a cut or having a cut and stepping in this water because it is so full of backed up sewage. Knocked over porta potties. You got to remember they were recovering from a hurricane already, so there were a bunch of porta potties set out along the road for aid workers to use while they helped to repair things. So those things have been knocked over and like spilled out into all of the water. And so like this is shit water. Just know that all the water they're wading through is shit water, and everything that gets soaked with this water is soaked with basically like imagine the brownest, the most disgusting shit water you've ever seen in a public toilet that you decided not to use. Imagine that is flooded into your house and soaked into everything that it touches. That is why all of their items, all their stuff was thrown out onto the street by the time this next hurricane came because it got wet, and no one tries to salvage their stuff that gets soaked from these hurricanes because it's all backed up sewage and shit. It's not clean water. It's not just normal salt water or normal fresh water. It's really gross.
At least you got shoes on to hold in the sewer. I knew this was going to happen.
Yeah, lurking in Hurricane Milton's floodwaters, debris, flesh-eating bacteria, and gators. Flesh-eating gators. So yeah, be very, very warned. Do not get that water on your cuts. Those poor gators. Yeah, gators got flushed out of lakes, rivers, and the ocean here. There are saltwater crocodiles, I think, in Florida. I think, South Florida has crocodiles. The areas where we're going to be looking at a little later, they have alligators and crocodiles in the flooded areas to worry about. Thank you, Zan. I'm in the UK, cannot imagine it, so I appreciate your review. It's very sad stuff. One of the things I want to remind you guys is that there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of Floridians that are going to be homeless this Christmas. Just think about that. Overnight, an event has happened that is going to ensure tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people are homeless this Christmas in America. It's sad. It's very, very sad. These are the realizations that start to set in the more you think about this stuff, and I think it's important to think about this stuff. I think it's important not to shut it off and, like, try and disassociate from it, because this is our reality. It's coming for all of us, and putting it off is exactly what, like, every disaster movie has warned us against ever. Like, it is the opposite message of everything that you should do when there is a potential disaster oncoming. I'm not going to lie, I'm tearing up hearing this just a little. That is a good and human reaction. That's normal and means that you have empathy and that you're a healthy person with a healthy mind. So I hope that is a good, I hope that's a good sort of bit of solace.
Oh my goodness.
It's going to be like this all the way down the road. They need to get a front end loader and just scoop all this up and just push it right back over.
Just 2 weeks ago, another hurricane, Helene, brought storm surge to this island.
This is almost apocalyptic looking.
I know.
A large amount of houses flooded, and all the debris was placed out on the road.
Wow, look at that. All the garbage. I knew this was going to be the case.
But before
Me
the
too.
city could come and clean it up, another
Look at all the
hurricane,
water.
this one, hit it again. And now
That
all of
road's
those
just
piles
unusable.
of debris are scattered all over the island.
It gets
Some
worse.
folks will ask,
Now the
well,
water
how
starts.
do you walk barefoot in this water? There is live wire could be falling into water, and there could be alligators. Well, alligators don't go into salty water.
Voluntarily, but they do wash into it from the rivers.
Never mind.
There used to be gators all over this island when I was young.
So are we in danger?
No. I mean, we could be, but no.
And the live wires are not live anymore because they turn out the electricity.
There's no way. This is getting hard to walk in.
I don't know what was better, barefoot or with shoes, because right now my shoes are full of water.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit to when we start to see the light coming up a bit, because it gets a little like the sun's rising, and they get deeper in, damage gets worse, and there's more light, so it's easier to see.
His grandpa was among the first.
Yes, this guy's like a Florida OG. His grandpa was one of the first people to build a house in Siesta Key, and it's that house that they're currently walking to see if it's still standing.
To build a house to which we are soon to come to and see if it's still standing.
Wow, look at all this metal.
Table.
Just a table in the road, just sticking out of the water. It's hard to see where the road is. Moving stuff out of the way so people don't fall on it.
Oh. Whoa. This is like a $50,000 porcelain vase.
Oh,
Wow.
What is
so
this?
much stuff was destroyed.
It's a little figurine.
Look at that. Oh, it's a little figurine. Probably belonged to that vase. It's like a top to it or something. Oh, look at this right in front
What
of us.
is up ahead of us? Oh my goodness.
This shot here
Wow.
blew my mind.
Even emergency services can get through here.
They need a team out to
There
clear
is,
that road.
I think there is right here. Yeah, right there. Can you see? There. Yep. Ow. Ouch.
Are you
They
all
have
right?
to squeeze around this person's house.
This
is climate change, guys. We've been warned about it for decades.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the more south we go, the farther away from the eye and more of the south winds.
Yep. Uh-oh. Hold on.
Wow. That's a
Let's
wire.
just walk over it and be careful.
It's a fallen wire. Remember, guys, like I said before, this is the least severe damage of the
Well,
severe
the power
damage.
is out.
It gets
is,
so
but
much
still,
worse than
you
this,
never
and
know.
it's
They
still
might
so
say,
much
"Well,
worse
let's see
than
if
this
we
in
can
some
get this
areas.
place going."
I'm going to be showing you guys that.
Sergio goes.
Yeah. They left a nice car out here.
Yeah.
We're going into murky waters again.
Yes, we are.
So there's sand here. So it blew
You
from
can
the...
see, even being a few inches higher up on a hill matters when you live in
Ooh, that's
Florida
done.
and hurricanes are coming.
Oh, Charlie, this is insane.
Living on even a
devastation.
6-inch tall hill can increase your rent
Down there is
each month to $200.
That guy's place.
That's the
Oh my
house that was
God.
for
House we're
sale.
gonna buy. It is completely ruined.
This is a concrete driveway and sidewalk, by the way, covered in sand because all the water comes in and it's so deep and it's with such a current, it's like pushing through that it pushes insane amounts of sand. And we're going to see as we go, just sand covering the road where you can't even see that there's road under it.
It is completely ruined.
Wow, look at this, man. I knew this would be the case.
Good God.
What a mess.
And all that stuff that's piled up and scattered everywhere isn't damage from the hurricane. It's stuff that scattered around from the last one. Because people had to remove this stuff from their houses when the flooding happened, and they left it out for like the garbage people to pick up, and then another hurricane came before they could, and now everything's even more fucked. If they get hit with a 1, 2, 3 punch of severe hurricanes,
Hey, are those?
Files.
I don't know what to say.
CDs.
I don't know what'll happen.
No, those.
I'm gonna skip ahead a bit to when they find his house, because that's when you really get to see the damage on the coast, where it's at its worst.
They're just.
Here, at least. Remember, this is the least
at all my
severe
plants are all
that I'm
over the place.
showcasing.
Oh my gosh.
It's still here.
Here. See what we got here. What a mess.
This is his
Go
property.
down to the bay.
Good God.
All that garbage, I said it would be down here, and it is. Right off the road. Look at the water pressure. Push the sandbanks away. Wow.
What is this?
Wow.
It flooded in there.
It did?
What happened is all this probably stopped the water and made it back up into the
Oh
house.
my gosh.
I don't know how we're going to get
Jesus.
this out of here.
This plug
I have
was
no
created
idea.
out of moss
All
and
this garbage
branches
from-
and
I'm standing on a chair
furniture.
right now from somebody else's garbage.
there are just giant
Wow,
masses
What a devastation.
of debris,
What a mess.
and one of them got plugged. Oh, a little bundle of
Here's my
coconuts.
cast nets. They're ruined. I don't know how we're ever. Look at this tree.
Oh, a little coconut palm.
He's
No.
It's
Poor
actually.
Oh,
coconut
look at this
palm.
thing. Look at the roots.
Sarasota has coconuts. It's tropical.
It's done.
Oh, the neighbor's boat is done. Oh, that's this neighbor over here.
That was his boat that ended up over here.
The condition of his property is significantly worse than after Hurricane Helene. Not only did it flood about the same level inside the house and this entire garage, but also the property is destroyed by wind damage.
So, this video does a really good job of showcasing how southern Tampa area got hit. Like, everything from St. Pete, this is Sarasota, got hit pretty bad. That's the area that got the eye of the storm. Now, the area that got the worst storm surge is apparently south of the eye. And I'm going to be showcasing one of those areas. This is a video by a YouTuber named Jonathan Petramala, who has done a video showcasing the damage south of Sarasota.
Calling something a one.
In the areas that got hit with the worst of it. And I mean the worst of it. I'm about to switch my screen now. You're going to see a coastal area looking exactly how I've warned it was going to look. Go back to my video I made about climate change like 6 months ago, talking about how hurricanes are going to get worse and they're going to do extreme damage. This is about what I was talking about. This is about what I was talking about. All the experts have been warning of this for decades. This is not something anyone can say they didn't see coming. The warnings have been out there for decades.
Calling something a 1-2 punch is a cliche, but when it's hurricanes Helene
Look at all
and
that
Milton,
sand.
it's a knockout. South of Tampa, 75 miles, residents of towns like Minnesota Key and Grove City, who thought they'd already survived the worst storm of their lives, learned worse has no limit.
That was Helene.
Okay.
And then I don't have my marker got floated away, so I can't hit the
That's
black
how high
papers
Helene
were,
got with the
this
storm
one is
surge.
Milton.
Hurricane Helene's storm surge was this high for them. Granted, they didn't get hit with the worst of the storm surge of Helene. The storm surge for them was this high. Imagine water so high at your door that it's almost at your doorknob. That is what happened to them.
Milton.
Wow.
Yeah, Helene.
They're lucky the water went
Your
away.
insulation underneath, okay, and your vapor barrier, and obviously the particle board, this kind of stuff. The original
Everything's
flooring.
destroyed.
Yeah.
They have to tear everything
then
apart.
Your top flooring, okay.
Yeah.
It ruined that. So I said, well, it's fixable. We'll go put more money in it, but
That's the
now
Florida
it's
mindset.
like,
It's fixable.
you got to strip it right to the walls and completely rebuild the whole thing inside.
But after Hurricane Milton, and this old Florida trailer park still standing on its foundation isn't just luck, it's a luxury.
Harry's trailer, see his front porch, that cement?
That's the front porch.
That was like mine, kinda.
Yeah.
His trailer was all the way over there on that side, up against that.
And it was moved, how many
there.
feet?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wow, 50 feet?
Yeah.
And this is from Milton,
Milton, yes.
not Helene.
No, not Helene.
It was still standing from
You gotta
Helene
remember,
over there.
the reason why a lot of these people are optimistically talking about rebuilding and fixing things up and continuing to live here is a variety of reasons. There's stubbornness, people don't want to move, but then there's also the fact that a lot of these, this is Trump country. Look at these people, this is Trump country, you know, and they don't believe in climate change. They don't believe in the quote-unquote agenda narrative that this is going to keep getting worse and this is going to keep happening. They believe that the climate's been changing for a long time, if anything, and that humans have no impact on it, and they just got to ride it out, and that sometimes big storms just happen, and that these big storms got to subside, and it must mean there's going to be a lot of calm after. A lot of these people have justified and rationalized to themselves that they don't need to leave. They just need to rebuild and hold their ground because it's going to get better. Because a lot of these people don't believe in climate change. They don't believe this has they don't see this as evidence of climate change even. They see it as a fluke.
There's no other way to describe it but significant, the storm surge from Hurricane Milton. This was the front porch of this home that was pushed.
Got dragged.
At least 50 feet into the neighbor's house. Just next door, that house caught on fire overnight. Everywhere, homes are a total loss here. And before Hurricane Helene, people who live here say they'd never seen water inside their home before.
It was my wife's grandparents put it here, and then my wife's parents took it over, and they owned it since then, and they passed, and we acquired it, and been in the family for 50 years almost. And now it's gone. I mean, this, of course, is the carport.
Yep.
Which, you know, is history. Oh, the carport. What I built stayed. What was here.
Yeah, this frame here, yep.
This was our lanai. This was our lanai, and I mean our kitchen was there in the living room, and
it's very sad. But one thing I will say is there's one saving grace these people had. The water went away. One of the biggest talking points when it comes to climate change is obviously that, oh, look at that, their big flat screen on the ground destroyed. One of the big talking points is that the water is going to rise and it's going to stay risen, right? Like that you're not going to be able to reclaim these areas. And so the fact that the water recedes generally would suggest that, well, you know, maybe it's not that bad, quote unquote. Well, I hate to inform you, it is in fact that bad. There are some areas where the water is not receding. In fact, it's expected it may continue to rise. And it's possible that some of these areas you're going to see in this video are no longer for human living anymore. It's very possible nature has retaken these areas and they are going to be wetlands with soggy ruins in them from now on. Prepare yourselves for what you're about to see. This is some of the most, possibly the most severe damage from the hurricane because it's not going anywhere. Here's the video. Please get out now. Sheriff warns Tampa area residents floodwaters are not receding.
This looks like a fan boat that you're on right now, Isabel. What can you tell us? Looks like you're in the middle of something. I'll let you take it away. Yeah.
Family of 7 cats and 6 birds.
Jim, hey Jim, we are in Valrico of Hillsborough County on yet another airboat with the Sheriff Chad Cronister. This is the Alafaya River, sir. I know that this is an area that typically floods, but have you seen anything like this?
Not like this. Remember, to put things in perspective,
This
we're
is days
a mile
later.
away from the Alafaya River, and this
A
water
mile
is
away
at
from the
least
river.
6 feet deep, and it's still rising. We just did a rescue from that house over here to the left, right here, the grayish one. The water's just, great job, the house is built up, but the water's just getting ready to get into the house. We got flagged down from the owner saying, can you please help me, help me? Went over there and rescued her 6 cats and her 7 birds.
And that person's okay.
And she's okay. The parents got out.
They're on an
last
airboat.
night, and we
Airboating
got
down the
them out
street.
this morning.
Do you have a grasp yet of the extent of the homes that are impacted? How many more people might need help?
We don't. This is early. This is just starting to come into play here. So we're in the helicopter now assessing how widespread this damage is and trying to predict where the water's going to crest. We're at 6 feet deep. We have some people who believe that it might get as high as 20 feet.
And actually, I do have some data, thanks to our meteorologist, Eric Van Dam, that peak crest for the Alafaya River is expected tonight. So that's 25 and a half feet is what they're expecting that crest to be. That is major flood stage. Sir, yesterday when we were talking, you got emotional seeing all these people.
What is making it continue to rise? Florida's rivers crest. They get tides, basically, and the river that they are about a mile away from that's overflown and is currently flooding this area is still expected to crest several more feet higher, which is why they're saying right now the water is only 6 feet high, but it's continuing to rise, and it's estimated it could rise up to 20 feet. So this is what 6 feet of depth looks like. It could rise up to 20. So it may only be a little over a quarter of the way of how high it's going to get. Damn, at least I got lots of inspiration for my post-apocalyptic fantasy setting. Yeah, I mean, a lot of creators of fiction are not going to have any excuses for having an unrealistic-looking apocalypse anymore, now that we know what it really looks like, you know? Like, shit, dude. Gosh, I wish it could just be something cute like a ponyo, where the water is still nice and clear, or a pond. Oh, yeah, and you could swim around in a little boat. Nope, there's just alligators, snakes, leeches, and flesh-eating bacteria.
Who had lost their homes. That's over in the university area, upstate area.
Hey, Gretel.
What else have you seen at the loss that people are experiencing,
Look
even
at that.
days on after Milton has passed?
And that's heart-wrenching, right? The water will come in, the water will leave, and then these poor people will have to deal with the aftermath. Once again, what's next steps forward for them? They've lost their cars, they've lost their homes, but at the end of the day, I get it, it's material items. We'll rescue all the pets and keep them and themselves safe. But it's hard for me not to imagine the heartbreak that comes along with next steps. Where do those people go that don't have family? They don't have friends. They don't have the money to get a hotel. What happens to them?
And sir, I can imagine you guys are being stretched right now with the number of rescues, so many rescues that you guys are conducting. Are you getting the support that you need at every stage, state and federal?
We are, and that's the great thing. We have another
Trump's
500
lying and
deputies
saying they
that have
aren't.
been deployed to this area to help us out, fish and wildlife. The governor's been fantastic about, hey, I'm sending it to you. So we have other sheriffs from other areas that weren't impacted. I was on the phone with them till late last night, and they're either here or on the way. So we want to make sure if there's one person that needs saved, one person that needs rescue, we have the ability to do so.
I imagine that this is exhausting for you guys, for your men and women out there. Any idea of when, because so many people are thinking about recovery, turning the page, repairing their homes, but clearly we're still at a stage in some areas where it's life or death and rescues. Any idea when that'll end?
That's a great question. Don't know. If this river continues, you know, we're a mile away from the river of flooding and we're at 6 feet. What happens if we get that 20, 25 feet and it continues to go? These emergency calls for help are going to be more widespread.
It could get
When
worse.
we're seeing flood levels of
Days
this stage,
after
even
the
going
hurricane.
above stop signs. Can you talk about the dangers that your deputies could be experiencing out on the waters? If it's not from just debris from Helene. We know there's gators. What else are you guys seeing in the waters?
Yeah, you're exactly right. It's not just the wildlife. It's just not the obstacles. Like when we came in and our sergeant here had to give us a little more gas, we were riding over someone's fence. You know, their fence is underwater. There's a lot of dangers and obstructions that we can't see because it's hidden under the cover of water, and it becomes very dangerous.
And sir, is there any message that you would have to people right now that live by a body of water? They're not sure if from the overflow, this torrential rainfall, if maybe this is going to be their experience next.
Yeah, please get out now. You know, we have
Just
some people
go.
here that we're rescuing that thought it would be okay. Listen, get your news from a trusted news source. The water's not going down. The water's only going to increase. So if you're on the fence on whether you should leave or not leave, please, let's keep everyone safe. Let's leave now.
Sheriff Chad Chronister, thank you so much for your time. Jim.
Face Sheriff.
All right, it's about...
So chat, I wanted to showcase these videos to really give you a broad idea of how bad the damage is. You got to understand that the clips I showed you are all from like dozens of miles apart along the west coast of Florida. Okay? Like we're talking a scale of damage this bad that is massive all along the west coast. And some areas are still underwater. And that's where we haven't even seen... Like, we don't get to see the damage yet because the water hasn't left for us to see what's under it, you know? Yeah, it's just... It's insane. How many different sources would you like? News? Sorry? What are you talking... We're focused on something else right now. I don't know what you're... I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, it's... Hurricanes definitely don't pack as much destructive power or more destructive power than nukes. I wouldn't say that. But... the amount of damage they do and the kind of damage they do is so uniquely destructive. It's so uniquely, like, scarring. Like, everything it touches it has to be, like, torn up and thrown away and replaced. You know? Like, the floodwaters, all of that stuff, all that flooring, all the walls, it all has to be torn up and replaced and rebuilt. It's just it's a different kind of destruction. You could argue in a way it's worse than a house fire, because you have to rip up and destroy everything yourself after the fact and then build it all back up instead of it, you know, burning down, and then just building back up. Right? It's really bad. It's really, really bad, and it's really rough to watch as a Floridian who, like, I want to be able to show friends and family and stuff like that cool things that I loved about Florida growing up. And it's possible that these storms, climate change just in general, are going to take a lot of those things away from everybody. And it's not just about me losing those things. It's the fact that other people don't get to experience them either, you know? A lot of these coastal areas I grew up along, like, in 10 years, if we don't do something, they're going to be underwater. Like, really, really underwater. And that they're not going to exist anymore, effectively. You know, you're not going to be able to take friends to go see those things and experience them. No new generations are going to get to experience those things because the ones that came before refused to preserve it. And it's a massive tragedy. And as I get older... You know, I'm only 25 now, but as I get older, I have lived long enough to see the changes in my own lifetime, and it terrifies me how different things are going to be in another 10, 20, or 25 years. It terrifies me. It really does. Anyway, if somehow you enjoyed this segment or found it entertaining, but more likely found it educational, consider leaving a like. It really does help the channel a lot. Every thumbs up boosts my content in the algorithm so more new people see it. And I'd say with a topic like this especially, it means a lot if you get it in front of a lot of people. I think this is something that needs a lot of attention. I recommend you also, on your own time, look into the damage that has been done by these hurricanes and look for yourself at how bad it's been. Don't just take my word for it. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers that live in Florida who are now getting their videos out showcasing the damage, and I was not able to show all of them here, so I highly recommend you check out some for yourselves, and you should see how bad it is. You should see what people are going to have to go through, because it is it's rough. Anyway, thank you for the likes. Thank you for the comments as well. Same goes for subscriptions. Rung bell icons, turn on all notifications. It really does help a lot, and it means a ton. And of course, if you want to see me on other platforms, consider following my social medias linked down below. And of course, join my fan Discord if you haven't already. It's the main hub of my community and fan base, and it's totally free to join. And on top of that, I host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties in my Discord server. In fact, tonight, I'm going to be hosting a watch party of the first 3 episodes of Season 3 of From. I really do hope a lot of you guys come to that. I imagine we're going to have a lot of people there. People have been quite hyped for it for a while now. So I'm expecting the attendance is going to be pretty good. But if you haven't seen From before, you should go ahead and hop in anyway. Go ahead and get yourself hooked on the show. It goes insane. It's so freaking good. Anyway, guys, with all that said, finally, I'd like to say if you want to support me directly financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. No matter what, just go with what you prefer. Even if you just feel like lurking, it's all good. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again. There we go. I know it was a bit of a depressing topic, but what did you guys think of the segment? I feel like it came out pretty good. I hated that Seggy, but I needed to hear it. Aw. Very good, very important. I'm glad you guys think so. Do you think the Republicans can win Florida at this point because of the hurricane? I think they still win Florida, yeah. But you got to remember, the hurricane hit hardest big cities that were already likely to swing blue. So the polling stations and like the ability to vote of people who are already likely to vote Democrat has just been worsened. It's like the wealthy, like rancher rural livers in the middle parts of Florida that got hit the softest. So you could actually argue some of the worst of the Floridians got off the easiest. Though then again, a lot of them do live on the coast, so who knows? Maybe some of the worst Floridians got some karma. Do you think, given the damage, the government should classify climate change deniers as a threat to national security? Yeah, absolutely. Ideally. Zan, we need Katara and Aang to be real to upend these places that destroy the environment. Oh, I mean the painted lady. Yeah. Good meme. Good reference to the show. I like that. That was an Avatar reference. Probably not Ride the Rails. Probably not. Let's be real. Anyway, Pepper221, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. It really means a lot. Thank you. Didn't say anything but sending a link. So let's go ahead and check out what this link is. It's a regular show meme. Alright, let's see what this is.
Else is the honored one.
So stupid.
Imaginary technique. Click
Benson, no! I have no idea what that is, but I'm sure it's funny if you get the reference. That's 2.1 million views. That's referencing something. It's a Jujutsu Kaisen reference. I've never seen that. Shouldn't surprise you. Never seen it. Oh, God. Come on. I gotta pop my neck. Let me do it. Oh, there we go. Oh, that was a good one. The moment you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, you won't be able to stop? Maybe. You know who else didn't get that reference? Yeah, I'd say Regular Show is also one of my favorite anime, War Penguin. You got a YouTube donation? Oh, god damn. I need to open that one. Hold on. Yo, Mr. Krabs, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I really appreciate it. Said, Zan, I got a Florida meme for you in chat. Well, you gotta go ahead and post it. You gotta post it. My toast it. It means Muscle Man is Gojo, the most overpowered fucker ever from what I've seen of it. It's on par with Chainsaw Man. Okay. Alright, here's the meme. Florida slander. This is very accurate. Yeah. Accurate. Yeah. Fair. Real. Listen. Real. Real. Daytona is a party city. Real. Nothing. But go to the beach. Yeah. I haven't spent a lot of time in Fort Lauderdale. True. What's this one? Florida Key residents trying to go to... I can read that one.
City talking, we taking notes. Tell him all to keep making posts. Wish he could, but he can't get close. OG so proud of me that he choking up while he making toast. I'm the type that you can't.
Oh, Fort Myers is nice.
I don't clear up rumors. Where's y'all sense of humor? I'm done making
True.
jokes 'cause they got old like baby boomers. My
True.
haters took consumers. I make vets feel like they juniors. Say your time is coming soon, but this
That's true.
mine is coming sooner.
You can't harvest swamp cabbage though. Yeah.
All these social networks and computers got these pussies walking.
True. True. Try his place in Lakeland. Yeah, it's pretty accurate, honestly. Every single one of those was accurate. The Lakeland one hit hard because I've lived there. Florida is the only state in America that you could divide it in half and you have basically two different ethnic groups. Yeah, Floridians are pretty different from each other, to be fair. That's kind of what's so great about Florida. It's ironically the most diverse state there is. Like, it's actually extremely diverse. Not in race or gender or anything like that. That's not what I mean. I mean just in the type of people. No, Aldrose, I don't watch any reality TV. That's the original brain rot. Yeah, you could say in a strange way, Florida is pretty woke. Florida went woke long ago. During Milton, I learned Florida has a place called Yeehaw Junction. It does indeed. It does indeed. Florida is a funny place, and people name things funny things in Florida, because the people in Florida are also pretty funny. That is something I can never take away from them. Oh, alrighty. True, Florida was always woke because it's a feminine name in Spanish, and that's political, obviously. Will you be male or political? Please tell me. I need to know. I don't want my future child to be political. I have an edgy joke. I hope you guys are, I hope you guys take it well. I imagine this scenario where there's this gamer, alright? And he's a white guy. And he's with his pregnant wife at the hospital who's giving birth, alright? And, you know, he's there. He's a gamer white guy. And he's got his wife, who is also white. And she gives birth. And the baby comes out, and the baby is brown. And the husband says, "Oh, come on, babe. Did you have to make the baby political?" I imagine that scenario, and I feel like there's a skit there to be made, like some kind of skit that could be made from that scenario. That is an actual scene. I bet it's happened, to be honest. Maybe I've seen that somewhere, and it's just, like, in my brain. The closest thing I can think of is the bit from the one Fallout 3 Zoomer video, where the dad says when the baby is born a girl, "Did you have to make it political?" She can't go back to white men anymore, Zan. You didn't have to elaborate on my joke. It was fine as it was, Lord Rose 97. I've seen it on a Netflix show called My Name is Earl, where Joy cheats on Earl and has black baby. Well, that's not the same joke, though. Also, I've seen My Name is Earl, and that's not... No, that's not the same joke. The joke isn't that the wife cheated. It's that the guy is so obsessed with calling minorities political, he doesn't realize his wife cheated. That's what the joke is. That he's... I'm not explaining humor to people who don't understand humor. I am wasted on you people. Alright. Let me bring up the next segment. It's gonna be a funny one.
There's a missile.
Oh, great.
There's a missile.
Okay. All right, everyone. You all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. All right, everybody. So I've been sent an interesting video. It's made by a content creator named Midas, and based on what I can tell, it does seem to be a female content creator, which certainly surprises me when you consider that this video is titled "The Female Hidden Privilege People Pretend Doesn't Exist." I've been told that this is like incel content, but made by a woman for dudes who are incels. So I'm interested to see what this is all about. It's gotten a lot of positive attention. It's only 5 days old, and it's gotten 107,000 views, despite the channel only having 28,000 subscribers. Dude, I'm telling you, be a woman and pretend like you empathize with men about how hard it is to get a girlfriend. Easiest path to insane amounts of success and money you'll ever see in your life, dude. Now, don't get me wrong. There are definitely social privileges that apply to men and women exclusively, but the idea that women are in some way like in a position in society where they are more privileged than men, broadly, at least enough that it matters for the sake of conversation, is kind of a fantasy that's dreamed up by like really sad, depressed men. So let's go ahead and hear what this VTuber has to say. Maybe I'm going to have my mind opened up to all of these privileges I didn't realize women had, that I don't. Maybe I have it way worse as a man than I could ever know. Let's find out. Let's have it woman-splained.
There's a misalignment between the understanding and the reality of gender and sex in today's society. And I don't mean this in a everyone is equal kind of way, or everyone is different kind of way. I mean this in a throughout time and space and in different parts of the world, different sexes had different roles, but they also had different privileges socially. That social privilege translates into power. Now, maybe it's not equal on all fronts. Like maybe socially one has more advantage in the workforce and one has more advantage in the interpersonal. One has more advantage in the legal and one has more advantage in the religious. It's really not black and white. However, in Canada, at least, my experience with this, the difference became really...
What? Why is it always Canadians? Send them, deport these people back to fucking Canada, goddammit. Like, I'm telling you, if we started doing, like, ICE investigations on the most popular conservative figures in this country and deported them, I swear to God, their country of origin is Canada. Can we just start fucking deporting these people back to Canada? Like, these conservative, like, expats from Canada that keep on poisoning our political culture on the internet and in real life. Can we just deport them all back to their maple syrup, like, maple tree land? Deport them. Seriously. I want mass deportation of Canadian conservatives that are invading our country from the north.
Startlingly stark. When I was in mid-high school, I was a bit of a ruffian. I was somebody that was not very...
Okay, let me actually acknowledge her point from before. So she is wearing a Waffen SS jacket. That may be what it's a reference to, but I'm sure that if I pointed that out, there'd be some response where it's like, actually, Zan, that's a 16th century Turkish general. Turkey didn't even exist in the 16th century, but it's some obscure 16th century general's jacket that has nothing to, it's gonna be, there'll be some response like that, but yeah, I'm sure it's meant to evoke that vibe. Yeah. I don't know, I've never seen this creator before. Who knows, maybe she's not as cringe as I'm assuming. Maybe I'm jumping into this being too mean. All right, maybe I need to chill out. All right, she hasn't said anything too awful yet, but there is this implication at a very popular, like, anti-feminist talking point, which is this idea that women have a legal advantage over men in the court system. And in some cases that is true. Biases in favor of women definitely exist, but statistically, there is still massive general problems around the things that the court system is meant to legislate. Like, for example, you might make the legal case that women are far more likely to just be believed or whatever in a criminal trial over, like, a sexual assault or something, which is not true. To be very clear, there's actually quite the process and a lot of evidence and a very high standard of proof to prove that kind of thing. But regardless, let's assume that's real, right? Even if that's the case, statistically, women do not report or have legal action taken on the vast majority of sexual assaults and rapes, which is one of the most blaring examples of a lack of privilege women have, is that they are the most targeted for sexual crimes. So with that in mind, it's like, who cares if there's a privilege in the court system if clearly women are too afraid to even enter the court system when there are so many unreported cases of rape and sexual assault. And when I say unreported, I mean unreported to police. They get reported, but not to the police. So, I don't know. That doesn't really... It just doesn't vibe well with the data. It's a fun narrative. It's a fun fantasy to imagine. Like, oh yeah, women could just accuse you of something, take you to court, and ruin your life. But it doesn't actually happen. Like, it's a fantasy. It's a nightmare, but it's a fantasy for these people.
Very good. I was a bit of a piece of shit. And I had this guy that I would fight with. We would have casual little fights, especially in wood shop. He would take 80 grit sandpaper and rub me with it. And then I would take paint and spill it on him. And, you know, just stupid back and forth like that, right? In my defense, to my credit, I treated everyone very equally. I had enough, so I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to start a fight with this guy. I'm going to beat him up real good. And so one day I went to school and I had a...
Hold on. For context, keep in mind, roughhousing was a very normal thing to do with my brothers, and it was very fun and cathartic. Okay. I'm assuming she's going to tell a story where she, like, hits him, like, properly, like, throws a punch or a slap or something, and he's like, and can't hit her back because, you're not supposed to hit a woman? That's what I'm going to assume. What is it with VTubers being Nazis? We went from Pippa JQing to this VTuber wearing an SS jacket. I don't know if this is an SS jacket. It's reminiscent, but I genuinely can't tell. It could be like just some other European like general suit, but it's definitely evocative of it. I'll give it that.
I'm gonna beat him up real good. And so one day I went to school and I had a frozen plastic bottle of water. Like we were.
Oh. Is she just going to tell a story of assaulting someone with a weapon? Hold on, what content does this person make generally? I'm curious. Getting my license, the real dangerous reason AR was made, duochrome, MK Ultra with Midas, the most peak assassinations of all time, turning my Vishojo plastic waste into fabric. Enough of enough, overrated romanticization of romance, taking Rias to hell. What is a debut plus Midas debut? It doesn't seem like she makes anti-woke content unless this is her first step into it. It seems like she doesn't make right-wing content necessarily most of the time. I'm not seeing anything too overt, at least. Maybe this is the start of it. I don't know. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I judged you too harshly.
Teachers, right? And I waited. I put it in my locker. I waited till everyone was gone for the day. And it was just me and him in the hallway. I took the water bottle and I hit him over the back of the head and I started beating him with it. I thought,
Jesus Christ.
He's very sturdy, so he'll fight back and it'll be even. And I'm giving
You're hitting him with a brick.
He didn't defend himself in the slightest. He had his arms up above his head, and this guy wasn't a pansy. He wasn't a pussy in the slightest. Like, he was more than capable of fighting me. He had the energy and the vibe. He could have done it. And I never understood why he never fought back and why he just kind of scampered.
Okay, now I would say it's because woman and he didn't hit her because woman, but at the same time, she's indicated he was willing to harm her in response to her harming him. In the past. So I don't think that's what it was. I think it's that she had essentially a ice brick that she was hitting him with, and there's no winning in a hand-to-hand fight, even against a woman who has a weapon generally. Like, if a woman comes at you with a knife, you can be a big, strong guy, but oh man, that's not an easy fight for you against even a small 5'2" woman with a knife who wants to kill you, dude. Or a brick. All it takes is one good hit to the side of the head. Dude, I don't think he was pussing out or refusing to fight. I think he just cut his losses because he thought that crazy bitch had a brick and was hitting him in the head with it and he needed to get away. This has gone from a fun little, back and forth, teasing or bullying each other into assault.
Away. In the moment, I thought, wow, I must be scarier and more intimidating than I thought. The next day, he came up to me in the hallway, very grumpy and very battered. And he leaned in and he was angry. And he looked at me and he's just like, "You're lucky you're a girl." And then he left. And in that moment, it all kind of washed over me. Not like the typical...
I will say, I will say, this is one of the areas in which I do feel that there's a little bit of toxicity in our society with the idea that you should never hit a woman. I do think to a degree the equal rights, equal lefts thing is kind of valid. I think everyone should have to keep their hands to themselves, and if someone lays their hands on another person, I think they've got the right to swing back. I don't care how small the other person is. It's not really a gender thing. I don't care if like a 4'2" guy like punches a 6'5" guy in the stomach, and he's like, "What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?" And I don't think the 6'5" guy should just be like, "Well, I can't hurt you because you're smaller, and I have to hold." No, especially in the case where she came at him with a weapon, if he had just like sucker punched her while she was at her locker and she told that as part of the story, I'd have been like, "Well, you did hit him with a frozen water bottle." You know, I've held a fully frozen through water bottle before myself. They're quite heavy. I've imagined that it would be a suitable weapon for dispatching a zombie in a zombie apocalypse scenario, actually. So I'm actually surprised she did not get in serious trouble, like bad trouble. I don't care if she's 4 foot. If she comes at me with an ice brick, I'm swinging. Yeah, I do think there's a level of toxicity there, right? Like older generations, especially, teach that idea that no matter what, you should never hit a woman. It's like, well, if I'm cornered somewhere and a woman's trying to rob me, if I think I can take her and not have to hand over my wallet, well, it doesn't matter who it is. If it was a little 4'2" guy who's trying to rob me and I think I can take him and I don't want to hand over my wallet, that's just how it's going to go. I think there's some scenarios. And being assaulted or attacked or assailed is certainly one of those scenarios where it does not matter. These hands should be equal opportunity.
Oh, well, he's so sexist. It was more just like he couldn't have defended himself. Because if you hit a...
She is making a fair point here. There is a good chance that if he defended himself and hit her back, who knows how severe the consequences could have been. Like, we've told the stories before. We've heard the stories about, like, the zero tolerance policy in U.S. schools, and that situation is always like, oh, are you getting physically bullied? Well, don't tell, because the teachers don't give a shit, but if you respond and a fight happens, as in two people are mutually in combat, that is when they care. That is when it gets attention and they really care, and it's not just like one person singling out someone else for bullying. And that's when generally the person who fought back gets in trouble. They outright told us in school, if you get bullied, do not fight back. You will get in trouble too, maybe more trouble. They outright told us, we will make sure you end up in more trouble than your bully if you fight back. Only ever go to the teacher. And then they never do anything about it, right? That was like the famous thing. You always had to physically defend yourself realistically, right? And we've all heard these stories, and we all knew this was the case because we all saw it if we went to school in America. You might have even gone through it. And so, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he had responded by defending himself physically and, like, dispatching the literal armed threat attacking him. The look of it might have been guy beating up on a girl, and she has to use a weapon to defend herself. And if she wanted to claim that, unless there were cameras watching, who do you think people were going to believe, you know? Like, who do you think people would default to assuming was in the right? Ironically enough, my high school and martial arts classes, even with zero tolerance policies, especially if you're a physically large person, yeah, I think most people, even in left-wing spaces, don't disagree with any of this, though, right? Like, I don't even think feminists disagree with this idea, that there's definitely some toxicity around the idea that there are some women who have been trained by that saying, never hit a woman, that they can physically do whatever they want to men and nothing's going to happen. And that's a dangerous idea, for one, but it's also a toxic idea. Like, no one should be taught that they have, like, a social carte blanche to fuck with, like, a certain group of people because there's a social expectation that group of people shouldn't do anything to defend themselves. Like, that's a weird thing to me.
A girl, there's lifelong consequences. This guy's best defense was to do nothing. If he had thrown a punch back, there was a real possibility, if I was a different person, the type of person who could do it, that I could pin the blame on him. Doesn't matter how many bruises he has.
Fair.
Who threw the first punch? If he threw a single punch and it made a mark on me, provably, then that could ruin his whole life. That could go on a criminal record. But if I do it to him, there's the social pressure of, the fact that you were beat by a bitch, but also there's the fact that he probably just wouldn't get help anyway. He'd be told to suck it up. But if I got like a single hit on me, and I reported it in the same kind of way, then he would have like legal repercussions. And that is a social privilege that I didn't know I had until I abused it. A lot of women take it for granted. A lot of women who are lesser human beings will take advantage of this, and they do horrible things. And that's how guys end up in abusive relationships. But I knew in that moment that we weren't equal, because I could ruin his life by choice by assaulting him if I had like committed to actually going further to the point where he needed.
I actually think this video is pretty alright. Because that is a real thing. Like, let's get real here, guys. Let's squad W up here for a moment. Let's be real. If you're a guy and you dated a girl and you had a rough breakup, you know that girl, if she wanted to, could destroy your life, right? And there's nothing you could do about it. Like, first, all it would take is, and this has happened before, like, I'm actually repeating a real story that has happened to someone before. All it would take is just messaging some of their friends in private saying, insert X did insert bad thing on insert date or whatever, or after insert event or something, and then that story goes around, and then it can affect every aspect of someone's life. Their school could hear about it, and it could end up being a problem with their schooling. Their job could hear about it and ends up being a problem with their job, all because of a rumor. It can just be a rumor. Never go to police. Just start up a rumor within a group, especially in a small town or community or a college town or something. That kind of thing can happen. It's a relatively easy path to take because there's no legal responsibility involved. And this has been sort of the fuel for the incel fire for a while now. This has been one of the biggest logs helping the incel fire burn for a while now, is this fear that men have that, yeah, to a degree, there are some areas in which, like, if a girl decided to and she really hated you, she could ruin your life. She could come up to you and just start assaulting you and cornering you until you're forced to defend yourself, and once you do, seek out legal repercussions and say that every mark on you was in self-defense. If there's no cameras or witnesses, who's the police going to believe? Who are friends, family, teachers, people you're friends with? Who are they going to believe, right? And this story that I'm telling you has happened a lot of times. It's not statistically super common, but it has happened a lot of times. And the fact that it is that easy, and that I think everybody can think of someone in their life who is just petty and evil enough to do that kind of thing and take that path, is something that a lot of incels or a lot of young men have been pulled into inceldom by. They view this as like possibly like the core killing bullet of feminism, basically, is that this privilege, this idea that women can ruin your life without even having to get the law involved with an accusation, because people default to believing it, is a pretty severe one. And I do think that's definitely, like, even in the realm of self-defense, not even when we're talking like a sexual assault allegation or rape, but even when it comes to a physical defense of oneself, yeah, there's a massive double standard. And that's why a lot of young men, a big part of why a lot of young men actually do feel under threat. It's easy to feel like men are under attack when there is a realistic scenario you can imagine that has happened in which a woman could take advantage of these privileges that do exist, to be fair, and ruin a man's life just using gender privileges, right? And that's something that men don't have the privilege to do in the same way. But then again, we could get deep into discussions of men's privileges too, because we want to be equal here, right? The other day, I felt like going to the store to pick up some Monster like a week ago because I was out, just like I am right now, and I didn't feel like waiting for it to get delivered. And it was the middle of the night, and I just wanted a couple cans. So I decided to walk 2 blocks at like 10 p.m. in the dark to the store to pick up my monster and walk back. And I just remember walking the whole time and seeing, like, you know, there'd occasionally be sort of a shady person walking down the road. You know, just somebody who kind of looks like they didn't have the best day, basically. Like, and they might not have a place to lay their head down tonight. And they don't look happy about it. And they look like their unhappiness about it might be, you know, taken out on somebody who gets in their way. So I'm walking down the street. And it's the middle of the night, and there's, you know, the unsavory people are out, and it's just dark out, and I'm just walking to the store, and I'm like, man, I love being a dude. I love being a dude. Like, nobody is looking at me as a target. No one is looking at me as a potential target or a victim to victimize. Like anybody who wants to do something bad is going to look for an easier target than a guy walking down the street who has God knows what in his hoodie. You know, like, I don't know. I feel like my man privileges are a bit better. Like, as long as I don't ever put myself in a situation, like, at the end of the day, as long as I don't ever put myself in a situation where I'm dealing with people who are likely to abuse these, like, privileges, or I never put myself in a situation where I'm going to be assaulted by someone who's going to use these privileges, then I don't really have much to worry about. So it's a fear that is mostly common among pre-adult boys. Like, high school to middle school boys are the ones I see the most concerned about this, because that's a setting where you can't really decide who you're spending time with. And so a lot of, like, young boys that are at school age end up getting pulled into incel stuff because, unlike an adult who can just meet a shitty person and then never speak to them again because they're shitty and just don't want to talk to them, like, fuck them, cut them out of your life. Unlike that, it's your school. You have to go to school. You know, you have to stick with the same classmates. They're not going, like, teachers aren't going to do anything for you because you don't like someone or because they did something rude. And so it gives you this perception that this is just how people are, right? And that a lot of the incel stuff, I mean, we've been covering it lately a lot. And I don't think this is really an incel video. I think I misjudged it going in. But a lot of the incel stuff that's gotten popular on YouTube lately is heavily marketed at teenage boys. And you can tell, like, definitely under 18 teenage boys. Because so many of their talking points rely on not just a lack of understanding of the world, but a lack of experience in it. Like, down to, like, never having dealt with the legal system before. Because a lot of incel talking points rely on a complete lack of knowledge of how the legal system works, to a degree where you would have to have never had a run-in with the police before. Which, to be fair, I've never had any legal trouble before. I've never been arrested or run in with the police. But generally, I think most people as adults have had at least one case where they've been pulled over or something, so the idea that they don't know how the system works on a fundamental level suggests to me they're a child, you know? It seems pretty likely. With that said, we'll finish up this video, but I don't necessarily disagree with the point that she's making, but I'm curious what she's getting at. Like, she's making good arguments here, making a good point. But I'm curious what the point of the point is, right? Like, is she just making this point that women have a privilege here for the sake of it? Or is she suggesting that, like, the left and feminism actually enable and empower this inequality?
It just intervened to save his own life. Him acting in his own personal interest and safety could have still further ruined his life. That is such an insane level of power that nobody should actually have.
And I don't want to see the inevitable "but men beat/rape women all the time" comment. That's a separate issue for a separate conversation. I don't think it's a separate issue, though. Because when you bring up the case of it being female privilege, you're making a discussion of, like, a gender contest, right? I think it's the framing of the conversation that invites that response. If I were her and I wanted to have this conversation in a way that wouldn't prompt people to, like, side-eye, I would probably say, while I recognize that rape and sexual assault on women is the far more statistically prominent and problematic issue, I think there's another issue that's worth acknowledging because you can't solve a problem without acknowledging its existence first, and that's the rare cases in which women arguably have more privilege than men. And that's kind of where you would get into it. I feel like the framing of it is what would invite those responses, if anyone does have those responses. But to be honest, I imagine this video probably got an overwhelming positive, reception.
If there is no equal punishment for equal crimes, then you can't have a functional society. You just can't. To this day, I just, like...
Yeah, but we also can't have a functioning society if, like, the punishment for crimes is vigilante justice. Because it's not legal to just beat the shit out of someone because they sucker punched you or they hit you. You're allowed to use as much force as is allowed to stop the threat to save your life, but that's it. And that's legally allowed. Like, even if it's a woman attacking you with a blade, if you use as much force as is legally allowed to stop the threat, you're not going to end up in that much trouble because it's going to be obvious what happened. You're going to be, like, all fucked up and the threat's going to be stopped. Like, you'll have removed yourself from the situation or something, and there's not going to be a bleeding, dead, like, battered woman to say that you were the victimizer there. There's a reason why the law is set up in such the way that it is. They want the evidence to be obvious. They want a jury of your peers to have the best, easiest time as possible figuring out what went on and who is truly guilty in the situation. And so, no, we cannot have a good working society by having the equality of equal rights, equal lefts. Let's be real. Like, we joke about it. We joke, right? And we joke about karma and how people deserve to get punched if they do something bad. But in reality, to have a functioning society, someone taking the law into their own hands is not a good thing, right? Like, ideally, everybody, if they're attacked, would try to separate themselves from the situation without fighting back, seek legal help. And, you know, obviously the victimizer isn't like, doesn't have any bruises to claim they're the victim. So it's very obvious what went down. And it's not going to be hard to seek out like a legal outcome. You can say that's not the satisfying result. Like, the karmatically satisfying result is the person who's like the bully who started it getting like socked in the face. That's the karmatically satisfying retributive punishment. But if we're talking about a functional, stable society, we're talking about law and order, not vigilante justice and men having the right to punch women back. That's not a stable society. Let's be real. Like, there is definitely an inequality in social standard here, but changing that to make it so we have equal rights, equal lefts is not the right answer. The right answer is encouraging as few people as or as many people as possible to not hit people for no reason. You know, like that's the actual lesson that will equal a more like happy society.
That comes up to me in my mind every so often. If I ever met him in real life again, straight up, I would like fucking sign a legal contract saying that this is what I was agreeing to do, just so that he could take me out behind the back of a building and land one solid sucker punch. Because
you wouldn't want that. No, you wouldn't want that. So here is I'm going to tell you. Let me tell her of privilege that she does not know, okay? Because if she decided to do that, because she felt like she deserves that and owes that to him, let me tell her, as a woman, she had brothers, but even then, I can probably guarantee that she has the privilege of never having felt a wound up, fully unleashed man's punch hitting her body, okay? That is not something she should agree to, okay? If she ever sees this video from me, my advice is do not do that. You've probably never felt 100% effort man punch before, and you don't want to feel it. You would probably rather live your whole life never knowing what that feels like and getting to live with that privilege. So don't do that. Don't do that. That is actually that is also a privilege, is not knowing what that feels like. I disagree. We should bring back legal duels. Yeah, we should just bring back, like, duels in the street. People just, like, 20 paces, pistols, advance 5 paces after every shot. Not to mention, in some cases, it could be fatal. Dude, a man's punch can kill somebody. You know that, right? Like, if a guy works out well enough and like, if we're talking like a pretty fit dude, okay? Like a pretty in shape fit dude who knows how to throw a proper punch, there are a few parts of the human body you can punch that will kill someone a lot of the time in one punch. Like, if you hit someone in the side of the head, like right above the ear, with a really, really powerful right hook, it's probably going to knock them out. And if they're standing on concrete or like hard ground and they just fall because they're knocked out, they're probably going to die. Like, a lot of falls from like someone's own height, like head height, kills people. Like, falling from head height kills a lot of people. So just a punch to the side of the head, knocking you out and making you fall to the ground and hit your head could very well kill you. It kills you more often than it doesn't, actually. Like, you're more likely to die from that than to not. So that's what I mean when I say, like, that's not a joke. It's not a fucking joke. Don't get into a fight or a fist fight of any kind thinking it's like something out of the movies. You could very well, like, just take a punch to the jaw and never be able to eat right again, you know? You might have a click or a whining hiss in one of your ears forever. And it's like, well, I got into a fist fight when I was 23 because I thought it would be fun, and now I always hear tinnitus in one ear. You know, like, don't get into fights just in general, guys. I can't advise it.
Bro more than deserves it. Me and my naivete didn't realize what I was doing. I feel like that's more than justified. The kind of guy he was, he probably wouldn't go through with it anyway, because even though he was a bit of a jerk, and we were back and forth, like, you know, wrestling. Again, he's just.
He almost certainly liked her, right? Like, we all agree, like, the fact that like they were doing the like slight bullying each other back and forth thing in school. Like, he probably liked her, almost certainly. Yeah, he did. Yeah, well, I'm guessing like 100% he liked her, and she probably still does not realize that. Like, what, like a decade later, I'm guessing. She still doesn't know.
Men are trained to be careful, and the ones that aren't trained to be careful get themselves in trouble. There's a misalignment between the...
Okay, so that's literally the video. I'm curious what the comments look like, because the comments could either be very well reasoned, where there's, like, you know, good conversation being had, or it could be an incel slop fest. So let's see what we've got here. Men are trained to be careful, and in one sentence, the reason why guys are largely checking out of the current dating scene. God, that's such an incel talking point, but at the same time, it's kind of true, statistically. There is a very big gender divide between men and women in Gen Z, and that is a big part of why there's so much lack of dating participation and lack of sex for, like, younger men that are, like, 18 to 30 is what all the stats say. Women are also experiencing a drop in the same metric, though, in Gen Z. Gen Z is just generally being less sexually active. And that was a stat already when we were teenagers. I remember being a teenager and finding out that statistically my generation was having less teen pregnancy, less teen sex than any generation, like, in recent times. And it was like, yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah, we're all fucking losers. That was my response. I remember reading that headline when I was like 14, 15, and that was like the sort of realization was setting in, like, even then, that Gen Z was far less sexually active, and that there was like lower rates of like childhood pregnancy and stuff, which is a good side effect, to be honest. And I was like, yeah, no, that sounds right to me. We're all a bunch of fucking virgins, dude. Gen Zers, we got no Riz. We never had Riz. No, in all seriousness, though, I do think that a lot of men have been buying into this mindset that it's dangerous to date as a man now. Yeah, there's definitely that kind of vibe that's very prevalent among the dude sphere, the dude community. When I go to the dude council meetings, the murmurs and whisperings are that the dating scene has just gotten to be too much these days. And I'm only kind of joking. The premeditated waiting with a frozen water bottle sounds borderline psychotic. A lot of comments are thankfully calling out, like, dog, you just admitted to, like, an insane line of events here. Why did you do that? Holy shit, a woman's actually talking about this. Good on you, Midas. Sure, I was molested by a female upperclassman in high school. This is something I've actually seen myself. I've got friends who've gone through this. I've got male friends who have been sexually abused by women. And in one case, and this upsets me to this day, because I've seen like the evidence, the DMs, the screenshots, and everything. I know damn well that my guy friend was completely innocent and was in fact a underage grooming victim of an adult woman. But guy friend I know was groomed by an adult woman when he was 16. A underage guy. She was in her 30s. And they were in a sphere, a particular community online. And this woman was pretty prominent. And since the community leaned pretty male because she was a woman and that was known, there was also a lot of simping and a lot of like, you know, oh, she can do no wrong. And so whenever he came out with what had happened, even with evidence and everything, a lot of that community still jumped to defend her because everybody like assumed, because she immediately claimed that she was the victim and people believed it despite everyone knowing that he was a minor and she was a very much a full-grown adult, like well into adulthood. And everyone just jumped to defend her. Half of the guys that jumped to defend her felt bad because she was a woman and immediately assumed she was in the right, and that the child was lying and was actually a predator. And the other half assumed that the other half were simps that just wanted to go with whatever she said because they want a chance with her. Because there's a lot of horny guys on the internet that will just do that, you know? So yeah, that is a real issue I've seen. I know people who've gone through that, and it's frustrating. It's really frustrating because it's not just that like it's that the victimizer gets turned into the victim in the perception of everyone else, and it's upsetting as hell. My friend knows a girl who's suing someone for rape despite the whole thing being entirely consensual and the guy even asking halfway through if she wanted to continue since she seemed uncomfortable. She admitted all this to him but continued with the lawsuit because she was more scared of her parents scolding her for lying about this than she was about ruining the guy's entire life. This is something I learned being the oldest child because I had to show extreme restraint no matter what my little siblings did. With women, us men are expected to show that same level of restraint. I think this mindset can be healthy when it comes to a sense of responsibility, but becomes toxic when it comes from fear of consequences instead. I served 8 years in the Marine Corps. I know plenty of guys that have gone to jail or gotten discharged on accusations. I know a guy whose girl stabbed him and only got a probation. I know a man who can't even see his kids because his ex claimed that he was abusive to them. I've watched the world destroy good men, and then women cry out, where have all the good men gone? And when you complain, it's treated as a joke. So you can take these stories as true or you can take them as bullshit, but what I will tell you is that young men that watch this video are taking every one of these stories at face value, and they believe them. And they are being like jotted down in a book of like big fears, and that fear is what the incel community uses to make their money and to radicalize people into deep misogyny. There is some level of realism to these fears, right? Like I'm reading these to you so you can hear like some of these stories sound like they could be real. Some of them sound like they stretch belief, to be sure, but the fact that so many people believe it is kind of the point, right? Like that's kind of the whole thing, is that there's so many people who believe these things and they base their world view off of these stories. So it doesn't matter if they're true or not. People are acting like they are. People operate on the assumption they are. I knew a girl in high school who liked to get boys drunk and take advantage. She got one of my teammates. Dude was gay too, and she never got any repercussions. Unless he was bi, I don't think you can get a gay guy drunk as a woman and then, like, get him to fuck. Like, unless he's so drunk, he's seeing, like, something else. And it's just like, fine. I guess I can pretend you're a twink or something. You know, like, maybe. But that begs belief, to be sure. There was zero effort by any of the victims to report her because they knew it was pointless. I made the connections to big and small dogs, and now I can't think about the issue without dogs. Everyone lets small dogs be menaces that do whatever they want, leading to even worse menaces until someone loses a finger. On the other hand, if a big dog so much as growls the wrong way, it dies. I will say, hilarious, this guy immediately jumped to comparing women to dogs. Just extraordinary. We had a poking game the boys would play in 4th grade. Notice a lot of these stories are going to call back to childhood, like to school. I mentioned that whole thing before where a lot of incel stuff is heavily targeted at young boys that are still in school, because once they're in the real world, a lot of the like stuff that incels say stops applying like entirely. Like the second you stop going to school and you're in the real world, like a lot of incels talking points stop working when you're not literally in high school or middle school. We had a poking game the boys would play in 4th grade, and by game, I mean we'd jab a finger or two into each other's oblique muscles. The goal was to get a good spasm or seize when you hit them, but also to force a laugh because it was a ticklish area. Yeah, that would have gotten me every time, I'm not going to lie. There's a fine art and aim to it. Too hard or in the wrong spot just hurts. You want to get the laugh out of them so you can feign innocence, i.e., you're not hurt, you're giggling. You also want to make it a surprise attack, otherwise it's too easy to fend off. These are all unspoken rules, of course. Any guy could tell you them. But the girls aren't part of the game, so naturally they didn't know the rules. On a return trip from a field trip, I was the last into one of the vans and got a middle seat in the back row between two of my female classmates. It's a bad seat, and my friend in the middle row teased me about it, and to play along with the teasing, the girls flanking me started to poke me. I've been told I have an infectious laugh/giggle. I was always a prime target for the poking. So even without the teasing to kick things off, there's ample motivation to poke me. Like I said, the girls don't know the etiquette for poking, so they end up poking way too hard. Plus, girls have nails, so the pokes are sharper. And between the two of them, there's no way to guard both of my sides entirely. Despite me yelping in pain and telling them to stop, it was still working a laugh out of me, so they saw no reason to stop. They were just playing the game the boys play. If a boy were doing this, I would have thrown an elbow after the first ow. But because they were girls, that instinct never arose. With no recourse, I ended up just curling up and crying. And that finally caught their attention, and they realized that they had gone over the line. My friend tried to console me, but he was definitely just trying to cover his ass. Our teacher was driving and hadn't heard me crying yet, but if she did, my friend knew he was going to catch some blame for instigating this. The rest of the trip to back to school was the three of them apologizing and trying to cheer me up, which I felt I had to oblige. But I just felt so embarrassed and pathetic. There was nothing I could have done differently. I know this story pales in comparison to stories of sexual assault or domestic violence, but I still learned the same lesson from it, and it sits very uncomfortably in my memory. So a lot of these stories are, very childish, right? They harken back to literal school. And I think it's important to remember that a lot of incel young men are probably going to grow out of it once they enter the real world, and the landscape of school stops mattering. Kids fucking suck. Kids are shitty. Whether they're boys or girls, kids are shitty, and they don't have fully developed brains with which to understand the concept of empathy. I'm gonna guess the reason why that girl took a frozen water bottle and thought it'd be funny to knock that kid upside the head with it is, A, her brain wasn't fully developed to understand the consequences of that action, what kind of damage it could cause, what kind of harm it could do, and why it's so wrong and such an escalation of things from where they'd already been, and why that's so inappropriate to do. And on top of that, kids are just not emotionally developed to the extent that they understand empathy yet a lot of the time. Like, you may understand what empathy is, you may know about empathy, but when you're a kid, you really don't have empathy yet. Like, not fully developed. Not at a level that you have when you're a fully grown 25-year-old or 30-year-old fully developed brain adult. Like, it's empathy is almost a learned trait, you could say. I mean, you always have a tinge of it, but babies have no empathy. Toddlers have no empathy. And so it kind of makes sense that, a lot of these young guys have a perception that women are so awful when it's really just young women are awful. Just like young guys are awful because you're kids and you're not developed yet. And that's going to lead to some pretty cringe behavior that, like, don't you think a lot of, how everybody's got those cringe memories from they were younger, like in school or whatever, that like keep them up at night or whatever? Don't you think there are plenty of girls out there that maybe, I don't know, rejected a guy in a really rude way and didn't realize it at the time, that now look back at it as an adult as like one of the like biggest regrets they have? because they felt so mean and didn't like mean to come off that way. I've got I'm gonna tell a story, okay? I'm gonna tell a story. So I've got a friend group, and it's actually a very diverse friend group. We've got like I got people in my friend group who are LGBT, a lot of girls in my friend group, a lot of guys in my friend group. There are gay guys in my friend group. There are bi people in my friend group. It's very diverse, right? Like there are people there from Brazil. There are people there from the Philippines. There are people there from Spain. There are people there from, I think, Norway. I've got a pretty diverse group of friends, okay? Now, one of my friends is the partner of another one of my good friends, right? And she is talking to that partner's best friend. And this best friend, unfortunately, has not had braces. And because of that, his teeth are not super straight, right? Now, they were hanging out in real life, and at one point, this friend, who does not have straight teeth, he smiled, and he was laughing. He was just having a good time because he was hanging out with his friends, having a good time. And the girlfriend ends up saying to him, you know, you're like pretty good looking, honestly, if you keep your mouth closed. And what she meant to say was that he's a pretty good looking guy, and that the only like drawback is like the unstraight teeth, and that without that, like because he, you know, she knew he was like kind of self-conscious about that. But like didn't realize that this was like a murder blow, like to the point where like all the dudes in the room approached him and put their arms around him like Jesus coming off of the cross after being crucified. Like it was legitimately just a moment where we watched a girl accidentally kill a man with words, okay? Just absolutely destroy him. and to this day, it is like he took it well, okay? He took it well, but she feels so bad that sometimes he brings it up in VC and she gets so sad and embarrassed. Like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for it to sound like that. I wasn't thinking. I'm so sorry. And so she's so embarrassed about that now. But like, I think about that and it's like, how many dudes have gone through an experience like that and just assumed the worst of the girl who said it? And then that like, at least played a significant part in building a really misogynistic worldview, right? Like, how many times did a woman mean to, like, compliment a guy? And because guys never get compliments. Like, you've got to be in a very particularly special position as a guy to get, like, compliments on your physical appearance. And so it hits hard when you get them, right? So, like, to get, like, a tease at a compliment that ends up not being one, it's like, holy shit. That's painful. Don't say that, Laughing Panther. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the times there are miscommunications that can happen between men and women that lead to weird ideas being developed by men about how women see men as well, right? Yeah, but she really should have known better. I've had terrible men tell me, oh, you'd be so hot if you just worked out a little. Like, that's textbook negging thing to say. No, I totally get that. Though, I think for those dudes, I don't know them and I don't know the situation, so they very well could have been assholes. They also could have actually, like, straight up been saying, wow, you're really attractive. Like, holy crap, you would literally be, like, 11 out of 10, like one of the hottest women in the world if you like were toned up. Like you would have everything. Like maybe that's what they meant. Like you are so close to having everything that it's like, yo, why not? You know, maybe that's what they meant and it just came off the wrong way. Maybe that was just a miscommunication, though I won't assume it. They were probably negging and being rude based on the idea, oh, this is a prelude to an abusive relationship. Okay, makes sense. But yeah, if there's a scenario where you could argue that could be a compliment, like the way it's interpreted, that just came out the wrong way. And so for her situation, that's what it was. Like she was trying to compliment him, but it came out the wrong way. And it ended up actually sounding like an argument. I've had this happen to me, actually. I remember this devastated me when I was 12 or 13 when it happened. I was like 12 or 13 and I was on the bus on the way. A lot of these stories that like ruin young boys' perception of women, by the way, tend to originate in school, like I said before. This happened to me once where I was on the bus, and I forget what led up to it, but a girl said to me, and there was a general consensus of agreement among the girls, that they like the idea of me. I don't know what that means to this day, but that devastated me for like 6 years. So yeah, I do think that there is a massive gap in the discussion of like this whole like the anti-incel movement around the idea that a lot of these ideas are actually trained into young boys at a young age, not because young boys are inherently misogynistic, but because young boys are going to be forced into an environment where they have to deal with all manner of other kids, boys and girls, and it's going to grow some pretty negative misconceptions. Most boys aren't going to develop hatred of other men from their experience in school because they'll have, you know, their buddies, their bros, and so they're not going to have a negative association, but like if you're a guy and you have a few negative experiences with girls when you're young, those could be those are formative experiences, right? We're talking about like the time when you're a child, you're learning, your neuroplasticity is maxed, right? And so I think there's a really toxic idea that might be enforced by our schooling system and the way it operates, where like young kids are having negative interactions, and I wonder if there's an equal, I imagine, because like, to be fair, man hate has gotten more popular among young women. I wonder if the amount of shitty young guys that women have had to encounter when they were like little girls has led them to like be the ones posting about how all men are trash online now. They probably had their first shitty interaction with a guy when they were quite young, and that led them to where they are now, where they're posting about all men being trash and kill all men online. You can't imagine that came out of nowhere, right? Like, that probably started somewhere pretty early. I bet our schooling system does a lot to encourage this really toxic, like, gender war that's going on. I don't know. I didn't expect the video to be more reasonable than it... I expected the video to be, like, incel pandering stuff. I think it was actually a pretty good video as a bounce point for discussion. And I feel like I did a pretty good job of discussing some of the things that push a lot of young men into the incel movement, which is where it's getting the majority of its new members, right? Are these like straight out of high school or in high school guys. I grew up fat, and it would be outright denial to say that hasn't had a massive effect on how people treated me and how I view myself. Yeah, exactly. So like, imagine that, but if it's like young boys are having like even 3 interactions with a really shitty girl when they're young, how can that not set their expectations and their worldview of women when they are kids whose experiences as kids are all they know and what they base their entire understanding of the world on? They have to grow up enough to realize that those conceptions that they built at a very young age aren't true, and that takes a lot, and it might not happen. It might not happen, but hey, if you enjoyed this discussion, you thought it was funny and, you know, entertaining or even educational, consider dropping a like. Every thumbs up really does help the channel a lot in the algorithm, boosting it to get in front of more people. And of course, if you haven't already, consider commenting down below as well. It helps a ton as well, too, as does commenting, or sorry, not, I'm so brain blasted right now because I need caffeine. Consider commenting down below and subscribing and ringing the bell icon. The mush mouth. It's taking me, guys. Subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And of course, consider following my social medias, linked down below in the description if you haven't already. It really does help so you can see my content on other platforms as well. And of course, consider joining my fan Discord if you haven't already. It's totally free to join. It's the main hub of my community. And on top of that, I host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties in my Discord. So you definitely want to join if you don't want to miss those. I'm actually going to be watch partying from Season 3 in the Discord tonight after stream, so stick around after my segments because you don't want to miss that, do you? And of course, consider perhaps even supporting me financially. If you want to help me directly and you've got the money for it, you can help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or supporting me financially by buying merch to the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless of how you support me. Even if you are just a lurker who just watches the streams and doesn't say anything, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you again, and have a good one. Man, the tiredness from the no monster is catching up to be hard towards the end of that segment. I'm not gonna lie, but how did you enjoy it? Nah, nap won't help me, Sir Goose. I need caffeine. Unrelated, but are you ticklish? Extremely so. Yeah, Lonnie would piss me off with that shit. She would tickle me. I guess that kind of ties into the topic, right? Like, she would tickle me and laugh and find it funny. I'd be like, stop, stop. I'm really ticklish. I will piss on you. That was always the threat I made, because I couldn't... That was really the most I could do, is like, listen, I can't promise I won't literally piss on you if you keep tickling me, all right? So you want to stop. You really do want to stop. I'm very ticklish. And she'd do it anyway. And so, yeah, that was definitely, like... It was innocent, and I didn't have a problem with it, but that is an example of like... boundary crossing, I guess, that's kind of normalized. Like, women can kind of, like, touch guys a little bit more than is ever allowed for guys to touch women without, like, invitation. I didn't really mind it that much. It's kind of an example of, like, the kind of imbalance in some areas, right? Where, like, there are some areas in which I think women are a little less socialized to not touch men. Like, could you imagine if men, like, were socially normalized to touch women as much as women have been socially normalized to be okay to touch men? That would be a really fucked world, you know? Like, that would be I don't know why we have that double standard. I know why we have it. It's because generally, like, if a woman is willing to touch a guy, then chances are the guy is okay with it, but that's not always the case. Alright, really quickly, guys, I'm going to take a bathroom break, and I'm going to check and see if my monster has been delivered, because I really need some caffeine. I'll be right back, okay, guys? BRB, don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Guys, I'm absolutely devastated. My monster's not here. It's so Jover. It's so freaking Jover, guys. My monster isn't here. I have to continue with no caffeine. Oh, absolute shot to the heart. Can we get Zan audio pissing next time? No, Lay Joker. No, we cannot. Someone named The Glorious Content in YouTube chat came in and said, Zan, are you still going to kill Keffels? And I can't tell if this is someone who's asking, like, hopefully, or if they're like a troll commenter. But I do find it funny that there are people out there who think the idea of me fed posting in private about Keffels is like an own. Like, the lady that scammed 100K from her audience confirmed now and has left the internet? Like Keffels left the internet. I don't think she returned. I think she's gone. Like, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure she's, like, retired from the internet now. Because of what she got exposed for. Like, if that's what you want to shit on me for, that's fine, dude. Like, I'm fine being known as the guy who fed posted about Keffels. Yeah. Go ahead. You don't need to delete your message or retract it. Bruh, I've said so much worse about people who've done way less. I think most people have, which is why I didn't really get canceled too hard. Please, Zan, piss audio. I know you guys are all into water sports because you're weirdos, but no, it's not happening. I honestly care so little about drama shit, I don't remember what Keffels did. The two big bad things that Keffels did that were, like, rumored about and then eventually confirmed that basically, like, ended her online career. And I actually had these things confirmed to be true to me shortly after I burned the bridge with her, and I was like, man, yeah, why the fuck should I rebuild the bridge with Keffels when I know this shit now? Like, what the fuck? I didn't know half this shit when I burned the bridge with her. Why would I ever, like, reconcile now that I know these things? And that's when the nuke started to be put together. And then a lot of people behind the scenes started to do everything ranging from strongly encouraging me not to release the nuke to outright threatening me with consequences if I do. And I ended up deciding not to release the actual nuke. But, whatever. The stuff all came out and became public later anyway. Oh yeah, she had scammed people, she had doxed, yeah. I actually believe Keffels' career died because she's boring. If she wasn't boring, she'd still be around. Look at all the other people with scandals but popular, they're still around. I think Keffels, definitely is boring. I agree with that, actually. But she had enough audience that she could have, stuck around, I think. Like, I think, and the same goes for Demon Mama, who apparently is gone now and hasn't uploaded in 3 weeks. Like, I think Keffels and Demon Mama could have both stuck around if they just kept uploading. Like, why would you ever take defeat? Like, just keep uploading. No one can force you to stop uploading but YouTube. Why would you let people's perception of you stop you from making content? If you continue making good content, eventually, like, the majority of people, clearly, based on how the internet is, will stop fucking caring about any drama. Hell, Dr. Disrespect getting record numbers after getting outed for, like, texting minors. Like, there's literally... Yeah, there's, like, nothing... Yeah, it's just... I don't know. I think Demon Mama was about to go on vacation when her ex-mod had the interview, so she might be back. Apparently she hasn't been around for a while. I guess Illuminati was a special case, maybe, War Penguin. It's hard to say. A lot of it is the fact that she had fucked over so many people in her personal life. Like, she was, like, legitimately an abuser who was financially and legally abusing as many people in her life as she could possibly manage, and using, like, her power and legal power and leverage over people. Like, she was a maniacal person. So she burned every bridge she had, and then also got outed as, like, monstrous, right? Do you still remember the threats you got for covering the Westside Tyler video? Dude, apparently, President Sunday has been, like, mauling about me. He has this, like, I think perception that me and Westside Tyler are, like, best buddies or something like that. When literally, like, I haven't ever spoken to him directly, I don't think. I think I've mostly spoken to him through, like, second parties. And the only thing I've said is, like, I appreciated his reporting on the Demon Mama thing because it was, like, insanely good. No, like, it was surprising to me that that story was not, like, already out there. Isn't Tyler an actual doxer, though? No. No, he's not. The only case you could say where he's doxed is cases where he's posted already public information. Doxing is when you dig up private information and make it available, not when you post public information, even if it is someone's, like, private info is what you'd call it, but it's not literally private info. So yeah, if your public info, like your address is out there publicly and he does, like, a video about you, he might talk about it, but that's not doxing, it's already out there. It's weird that you can't be neutral about a person online? Yeah, that's, it's not really weird, it's just how the internet is, dude. Zan, when I heard about the Demon Mama drama, I literally ended up crying. I can understand that. A lot of people in Demon Mama's community were very close to her and had a lot of trust and you know, love for her. I can confirm, like, Demon Mama's communities was one of the most, like, positive, nice, and supportive that I ever, like, visited and would spend time in. So, yeah, it's just, it's very, I don't know, it's very interesting. It's sad. I know a lot of people are very bent out of shape over it, and understandably so. President Sunday is kind of a weirdo. Yeah, I've never really engaged with President Sunday because he legitimately gives me the creeps. Like, I'm not saying this to be mean, and I'm not saying this because I don't like him, but, like, I have always just gotten a creepy vibe from him that I didn't like, and so I chose not to interact with him. And I don't ever want to interact with him. He's just got this, like, greasy vibe to him I can't get with, you know? I can't vibe with it. What did Demon Mama do? I'm gonna let someone else go into YouTube chat and inform Nate Crown King on that. I'm gonna let someone else take care of that. We're beyond this. President Sunday is kind of obsessive and weird. I'm not even talking about his behavior. I'm just talking about, like, I judged that book by its cover, and I guess I was right. Anyway. Running Rab, thank you for the $10 donation. Very kind of you. It means a lot. Thank you, thank you. Said sorry, not sorry, and then sent a link. What is this? Furry Rap Remastered 5-year anniversary. Audio still from Sinzawa. Oh no, is this what I think it is? This is that one copy pasta. You donated $10 to make me listen to this.
Okay, I know this is a really bad idea, but
fucking furries,
I'm
dude.
already here, so here we fucking go.
Oh, it's maximum cringe. Okay. That did not go the direction I was thinking it was gonna go. This is how, like, half of animes start, apparently. It's like there's like a girl who looks all innocent and like, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna enjoy my day and I'm gonna talk to my friends and it's gonna be fun, and then you get isekai'd. Yeah, is that what the term is? You get isekai'd? Yeah, run over by a fucking dumpster or something. Instant roadkill. I just know that one meme. I don't know what it's from, but that one meme where the girl is about to, like, run across the street to go to school, and then, like, the garbage truck just, like, for like 3 frames just goes boom, like fucking A-Train running through Huey's girlfriend. Just boom, just goes straight through the fucking Zombieland Saga, I think it's called. Really? Speaking of good memes, what's this, Galaxy Bomb?
I can't believe this. Now you tell your dad what you did today. I'm finna go get dressed for my girl night.
Son, what's going on? Why's your mom so upset? I got into a fight today at school. You got in a fight today? With who? Damian Skeetsworthy. Well, did you win? I mean, yeah, I won. You beat up the captain of the football team? I mean, yeah, I did. Now that's my boy. I am so...
What's going on down there?
I mean, why would you do that, son? I just gotta yell because of your mom. Oh yeah, I understand, Dad. So tell me about it. How bad did you whoop him? Well, I did break his nose. You broke his nose? Oh, how did it start? I took his girl. You took his girl? Who are you? Hey, I'm just me, Dad. His girl's the one that messaged me. I feel you. That's how I be. So, hey, your mom's about to come down here, so I gotta start yelling at you again. But don't take it to heart. Don't worry, Dad. I understand.
I can't believe this.
I'm gonna be real, that would also be me with my kid. But honestly, that was my mom with me. Like, my mom never would have, like, tolerated, like, me not defending myself. Like, she always was like, listen, I get what the rules in the school are. But if you get attacked, you defend yourself as much as necessary. I'll deal with the rest. And I was like, okay. You know, like, all right. And so I never really had too much of a worry about it. I always knew that if it ever came to it, I was not going to hold back if I needed to defend myself because I was afraid of getting in trouble. I already had that whole situation squared away. Xander Hall, isekai characters are mostly male, but it's basically when the main character dies and goes into some kind of Narnia-esque world where they're the hero, mostly with cringe power fantasy. Oh no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the instant starting with an innocent-looking character dying out of nowhere to like immediately set the tone, I guess, in a very like rushed and cheap way. Yeah, then usually a harem does happen, Heavy Gretel. That is true. That is true. Pepper T21, thank you so much for the 5. Although, you guys are all going to feel really stupid if when we die, we all wake up in a fantasy world where we have to, like, level up like it's a video game where we die and respawn and like, you get mad bitches. If that ends up being what happens when you die, y'all are going to feel so fucking stupid for making fun of that for so long. Like, that would be ideal, though. Let's be real. You die, you just wake up, and you infinite respawns in a fantasy world. As long as it's not Attack on Titan. Yeah, you don't... That would be bad. Or Dying Light. Like, you just wake up, and you're in fucking Haran. And there's volatiles. It's nighttime. God. I love clips of people's first-time reaction to the volatiles in Dying Light. If anyone hasn't played Dying Light 1, oh my god. It's insane, dude. This sequence was the first time I've ever truly felt like a massive adrenaline rush of fear from a game. I've had excitement adrenaline rushes from multiplayer online games. This is the first time that a game has just been like an easy injector of adrenaline from fear into my body. Like, there's no amount of replays that will make this game not scary. These are different people's, like, from back in the days, reactions to the first time they encountered this scene.
Oh, shit. They must have heard me.
Who is this? The Rad Brad. Everyone knows the Rad Brad. Everyone loves him.
Oh, shit.
He's
what
the
is
Let's
that?
Play guy.
Holy fuck, it's dark. Go, go, go. Oh, my God. Holy shit, guys.
Dude, when I heard them panting for the first time to run after me, that was the moment when I realized I needed to fucking run.
Time to go.
These things got some cardio.
Time to go. Why do I want to look back while I'm sprinting? Alright, I need to put this... I don't know. This is not good. This is not good. Holy shit. Fuck.
And they take it easy on you in this chase.
Oh, shit.
Oh, the one emerging in front of that bus goes crazy.
Oh, what the fuck? Something is like grabbing me. Oh, shit!
That exploding car is fucked.
I don't think I can make it back, guys.
What a troll.
Holy fuck! Go, 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 go! Oh my goodness. I am so dead. They're on me, guys. There's nothing I can do. I got, like, no stamina whatsoever. Climb, 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 go, Buffa, go. Jesus.
You're gonna hear them walking behind him.
So they're like searching, look at that. Alright, we're almost back there, we're almost back. Somehow, some way we got out of there.
And they're like the vampire zombies in I Am Legend, so they hate UV light and sunlight, so that's why once you get past the black lights, you're safe. Once you're in the UV lights, they can't get to you. They'll burn up if they try. Man, this game looks awesome. Why was everyone hating on this game when it came out? Was everyone hating on it, Galaxy Bomb? What do you mean? Are you talking about Dying Light 2? Because, like, fans of Dying Light 1 were hating on it for not being, like, the insane, innovative, like, game changer that Dying Light 1 was, but I don't know if you could really expect that from the sequel. It just started a genre, Dying Light 1 did, and they advanced on it with Dying Light 2. But, people had very high expectations for Dying Light 2, and it didn't meet those really high expectations, but it's still better than the first game, so I'm happy with it. But people still get mad because they were expecting, you know, 2 times the quality of the first game, I guess. Didn't I Am Legend inspire zombies to begin with, the book, not the movie? No. No, it did not. The I Am Legend zombies are basically not zombies. They're more like vampires, but, like, with a virus that makes them vampires. Yeah, Mari Spare, get ready for a lot of that for like the next 6 or 7 games from what I've heard. The Final Fantasy games don't start to be like comprehensible until like Final Fantasy 4 or 5 from what I heard. Anyway, Pepper T21, thank you for the $5. I really do appreciate that as well. Says, since you're covering VTuber stuff again, I'll plug my stuff. Since I'm a VTuber who will never hurt without prior consent, so join my Discord. And then a link to subscribe. Go ahead and drop your links in chat, by the way, Pepper T21, since I don't know if everyone can see them from the donos. Thank you. I appreciate it. Very kind of you. As you know, I'm already subbed to you. But I really do appreciate it. Thank you for the $5 dues. And then Pepper T21 with the $5 donation. Thank you, thank you. It really means a lot. Thank you so much. Said, nothing but a link. Let's check out this link.
Don't talk!
The Hammer of Justice is unisex. I've seen this clip.
Now my man that way!
You wouldn't hit a lady, would you?
The Hammer of Justice is unisex.
Don't talk!
True. Batman really said equal lefts, equal rights. Anyway, thank you for the $5, Pepper T21. I appreciate it. Let me update the dono goal. Yeah, these hands are rated E for everyone. All right. Let me mark off the last topic on the list, and let's start the last one of the day before we start going over to do the watch party. Woo! Praise the scroll. All right. Hey, Zan, I'm thinking about moving to Washington State because Kentucky fucking sucks. Dope! Yeah, you should move to Washington. I really like it here. It's just so nice. I really love that there are literal volcanoes. And, like, one of them is thinking about being active again. And the way it would erupt if it did wouldn't be really widely destructive and all that much. It wouldn't be like a big pyroclastic eruption or anything. But the volcanoes the other volcanoes around that are not active are themselves massive and awesome and always covered in snow. So you just get this, like, fantasy vibe when you are in Seattle. Like Washington itself feels like you're in a fantasy setting that is advanced to modern day. There's really no other way to put it. It feels like there should be, like, gnomes and elves in the woods. I love it here. It's awesome. And there's no hurricanes. Can't imagine living near a volcano. I love it. I think it's awesome. I want to be the first one to see the Pacific Northwest's own Mordor if one of those volcanoes erupt, okay? I want to be the first one to see it. I'm going to be chanting, Ooh, Dune. Chanting my black speech, praising Sauron as Mount Rainier erupts. I would want to see what life's like on the West Coast before deciding to move anywhere outside of bumfuck nowhere, North Texas. Dog, Cleaver 120, I promise you, you will like it better. You don't need to test it, but if you want to, you should. Yo, Mead to Mix, thank you for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. So, Zan, I'm sending a meme to the Discord. It's you getting tickled. I don't want to see this, dog. No. Let's see, where is it? In memes? I don't see it. It's not here! Is that where you posted it? Yeah, I didn't get a notification. Discord's not the good place to send it, unfortunately. I got a funny Tolkien meme for you. Thank you, Circuit Dog. What's this? Tolkien naming his characters. I like this one. That's pretty good. 2.4 million views. We forget that all the scary things from ancient myth and legend had names in their native languages that mostly translated to evil spirit and thing that kills you. That's true. You also have to remember that in real life, people give important things dumb, simple names in a way that, like, kind of makes sense. But if you saw it in a movie, you'd call that dumb or hacky, right? But, like, in real life, okay? Now let's imagine, in real life, a giant-ass maw opens up in the middle of LA, just a big fucking sinkhole filled with lava and fire, and it just eats up several city blocks. Massive news, world-spanning news. Everyone's gonna call it something dumb, like the death hole, the fire hole, or the hell hole. It's going to have a really dumb name, but it's gonna be cool because it's real life and it's real. But if you saw exactly that happen in a movie and they gave it that name, you would cringe. Like, you couldn't come up with a cooler name for people to call it, you know? Like, really? Like, the Devil's Mouth would have been cool, you know? But no, people would call it something dumb. Like, it would go viral on Twitter as, like, the fire hole or the death hole. You gotta remember, people voted to name a boat Bodie McBoatface, okay? That is what the internet decides to name things when given the ability to, alright? So you gotta keep in mind, like, realistically, yeah, motherfuckers would call the big-ass volcano of Doom Mount Doom. That would be the name people would give to it in real life. Like, that's actually kind of real. Yo! Mr. Krabs, thank you for the $2 super chat. I really appreciate that. Very kind of you. Said, I have a meme that Seattle has, which is Bigfoot. That is true. That is true. Seattle does have its own meme. Bigfoot is Seattle's, or the Washington State's own little meme. The original meaning of bear was brown thing, so brown bear literally means brown, and there's several rivers in England that means river. Yeah. People are not creative with names in real life. Who is this imposter? The real Mr. Krabs would never donate money. True. Oh, man. We gotta get this next segment done. This monster drought is getting to me, guys. It's getting to me. All right. Y'all know what to say. Y'all know what to do when I say action, right? 3, 2, 1, action. All right, everybody. So this story is an interesting one because it actually branches off of the first segment of today, which is about Hurricane Milton. And the reason Hurricane Milton hitting Florida was so devastating was because it's in the aftermath, so quickly in the aftermath of another itself quite devastating hurricane. And so the damage done by the first compacted and compounded exponentially the damage done by the second. And good lord, if you haven't seen the segment I've done on that yet, I don't know if it's going to get out at the same, like, before this one does. you really should take a look at it when it becomes available, because the damage that Milton did was devastating, like truly devastating. There's no other word that accurately depicts or describes what has happened. Anyway, as you can imagine, this hurricane, if you look at the situation with any level of logic or critical thinking, and you're educated about these topics, it's an obvious W for the Democrats, from a political strategy level. This is a situation where everything that Democrats and climate scientists, those that believe in climate change, have said is going to happen has happened. A lot of the people who are hit by this are the same people who have said for a long time, how can climate change be real? It's snowing in Texas. And so it can be easy to say, well, this should be very big, like a very easy big W for the Democrats, especially so close to the election. They should easily be able to use this as something to help them win, and perhaps even bring about reform that'll help to prevent these problems in the future and secure future Democrat victories. Well, the Republicans aren't going to give up that easy. They've immediately jumped to pushing misinformation to try and claim a win out of this entire thing. And what's so dreadful about the way they're doing this is that their number one target, the group they have tried to attack effectively, are first aid workers, claiming they're not doing enough, that the federal first aid workers are not providing enough aid, that FEMA isn't doing enough, despite the fact that, talk to anybody involved in the situation, they'll say that they very much are. In fact, Donald Trump has gone as far as to say that the hurricane is not a big deal, and that the climate change, quote-unquote, hysteria is over-exaggerating, and there was a guy who refused to leave his home and evacuate because he believed Trump said he was going to be safe, and he ended up in waist-deep water the morning that Milton rolled away. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and read this article, because Biden himself, our current president, is speaking out against this tendency, and I'm really happy to see it too, because, we haven't given a lot of attention to Biden lately, we've neglected Biden. We've focused a lot on Kamala Harris because she is the nominee, but I think it's still worth giving some attention to why it's good to have a Democrat in office, besides just the fact that it keeps a Republican out. Biden condemns Trump's onslaught of lies about hurricane relief efforts as Florida braces for Hurricane Milton. Vice President Kamala Harris also slammed Trump's deliberate lying as unconscionable in a phone interview with CNN. President Joe Biden on Wednesday slammed his predecessor for leading a massive campaign of misinformation and disinformation that is hampering efforts to help Americans harmed by Hurricane Helene and protect them from the damage that is sure to be wrought by Hurricane Milton when it hits Florida later this week. All these because this was written before Hurricane Milton had hit and we knew the damage, I hope that now that you know the damage, so far we know at least 17 are dead. I hope now that you know the damage, it gives you an idea of how awful what Trump is doing here really is, how many lives he was playing with for political gain. Speaking during a briefing alongside administration officials at the White House, Biden said he has been in constant contact with governors from all of the states affected by Milton and Helene: Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Virginia. Even DeSantis has been getting fed up with Trump's bullshit because his state is in a state of destruction and needs this aid. Even DeSantis has been praising Biden and the federal government and has been calling out the misinformation from the rest of the GOP, where they have the privilege of being able to deny the quality or existence of the aid efforts because their states weren't hit by these hurricanes, so they can be part of this culture war because it happened to someone else. The Republicans caught in this, though, are now the ones being used by the right for the culture war, and they're the ones suffering. I'm really hoping that this ends up being an eye-opener at the very least, if there's going to be any silver lining to the situation, right? Quote, I'm appreciative of all they're doing as well. I've told them to contact me with anything else they need. We have made available an unprecedented number of assets to deal with this crisis. We're going to continue to do so until the job is done, he said. But Biden also said he wanted to be clear about what he described as reckless and irresponsible and relentless promotion of disinformation and outright lies that are disturbing people and undermining confidence in the incredible rescue and recovery work that has already been undertaken and will continue to be undertaken. Quote, "It's harmful to those who need help the most. There's simply no place for this to happen," he said. The president blamed his predecessor, former President Donald Trump, for leading this onslaught of lies about relief efforts, including claims that the government is using the disaster to seize property. That's simply not true, Biden said. This is the point that the guy who refused to evacuate believed from Trump. He claimed that if you agree to evacuate with FEMA or first aid workers, then you're forfeiting your home and that people can come take it and you don't legally own it anymore. Something that's just a blatant lie he made up for no other reason than to drum up hate and distrust for first aid workers and for first responders. Like, his supporters are going to kill people. Oh, if you don't know, there are bot accounts pretending to be Trump supporters, at least, that are posting about how they're Marines that are, like, taking sniper shots at FEMA workers, and they've already killed, like, a dozen so far and counting. Like, there are conservative accounts and bot accounts, probably mostly, like, bragging about killing FEMA workers, which is certainly made up, but it's what the kind of stuff that is getting likes among their sphere. And it goes to show what group they've decided to target as, like, their boogeyman. First responders. First responders. That's the group of people they've decided to target and make their boogeyman to attack and ridicule and bully. And fantasize about murdering. He also said other claims about storm victims only being entitled to $750 worth of relief and nothing more are similarly not true, and shot down claims that relief funds are being redirected to help migrants as a ridiculous thing to say. Biden also ridiculed a suggestion from Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene that the storms are being purposefully created by the government through some form of secret weather control technology. "It's beyond ridiculous. It's got to stop," he said, before adding that it's moments like this there are no red or blue states. There's one United States of America. We're neighbors and are helping neighbors. Volunteers and first responders are risking everything, including their own lives, to help their fellow Americans. State, local, and federal officials are standing side by side, he said. Trump and his allies have been letting loose with a steady stream of false claims about Biden's administration's response efforts since Helene left devastation across a wide swath of the American Southeast earlier this month. Right-wing media figures and influencers on the X platform, aka Twitter, have claimed that the government is deliberately withholding aid to areas that typically vote for Republicans, and have suggested that Federal Emergency Management Agency personnel are undermining relief efforts by private actors and charities. That's FEMA, by the way. This is the conspiracies about FEMA being evil, which goes back to Alex Jones, for those that don't know. Vice President Kamala Harris also slammed the disinformation campaign during a phone interview with CNN shortly after she and Biden were briefed by officials. Speaking to anchor Dana Bash, she said it's dangerous and unconscionable for Trump or anyone who considers themselves a leader to mislead desperate people to the point that those desperate people would not receive the aid to which they are entitled. Quote, "We all know it's dangerous, and the gamesmanship has to stop at some point. The politics have to end," she said. I love that. The stop making it political Trump point goes crazy on Kamala Harris's part. She cooked with that one. That is actually a really powerful and strong point, especially with the, median voter in America. You got to remember, the entire country is watching this entire situation go down. The damage from these hurricanes is viral on Twitter right now. People are talking about it big time. The response from Biden and the federal government is being watched closely. The reality of the situation is very much known by the people in this situation. And the claims from Trump are not going to vibe well with the reality of a lot of people who are meant to be his strongest supporters. I really wouldn't be surprised if this entire situation ends up snowballing into being one of the things that loses Trump the election if he does lose. I'm curious if I can find an article about the threats to FEMA workers. Oh, yep. Here we are. FEMA Director Mary Bahamond Bahomend says FEMA workers are getting threats from people who believe the misinformation and that it is dangerous. And might I add, it's completely disgusting. Hashtag thank you first responders. So, yeah, even the, director of FEMA has had to speak out about the first responders getting death threats from people believing Trump's conspiracy theories, because that's what they do. They believe the conspiracy theories, and then the craziest of the crazies act on them. That's what stochastic terrorism is. You plant the seeds, and those seeds blossom into a terrorism tree.
All right, and just so we can put this rumor to rest, you have the funds to take care of everything with Milton, correct?
We do. We have the funds to take care of everything for Hurricane Milton. The people do not have to worry about FEMA not being able to provide assistance to them.
All right.
We want people to know that.
All right. I asked because you now have on your website a whole section that's dealing with rumor response because of all this disinformation. We just heard President Biden talking about it. There are reports now that FEMA workers trying to help in North Carolina are getting threats from residents there who believe the disinformation that if they accept help, the government will seize their land, or if they accept $750 in emergency.
Trump desperately needs this to be a win for him, and he's willing to make his own supporters endanger themselves to threaten first responders if it means a win for him, if it means it gets him even an inch closer to winning the election. He truly is that evil and regards his own supporters so lowly. It's why I've gotten to the point where I genuinely pity so many Trump supporters now. If they're still willing to vote for him after all of this, it's like, so you're just willingly, you're just into cucking. Openly, you're a cuck at this point. It's ironic they call left-wingers cucks when this is just the most cucked shit ever. If after all this, you're still willing to back Trump.
Money, they won't get any more. None of that is true, right?
None of that is true. This misinformation is dangerous. It's
all right,
yeah, so this has been escalating too, and obviously real threats are big as well, but I was talking before about the, insane response. Oh my god, this as well. I forgot about this. It's mind-blowing. U.S. meteorologists facing death threats as hurricane conspiracies surge. Storms Helene and Milton have triggered rise of misinformation stoked by Trump and fellow Republicans. You got to understand, a lot of these people refuse to see this as evidence that contradicts their worldview. Everything that we said would happen happened, and everything they said would happen didn't happen. And instead of seeing it as a point against them, they saw it as a point even more in favor of them. It's not that the left was right about climate change. It's that they were right about climate change not being real all along. And the left has now controlled the weather and purposefully targeted Republicans to kill them to false flag climate change existing. That, it can't be evidence that exists. It's evidence there's an even deeper conspiracy on the side of the people you don't agree with. This is cognitive dissonance at a level where I don't know if there is a cure. I think these people are just dangerous to exist in this country. Their existence is just harmful, dangerous, and nothing will ever change that. We are hurting our country as long as we allow them to live in it. I think we should mass deport people, but not because of their immigration status, but their political status. We should honestly mass deport a lot of conservatives. I do think so. I think a lot of them would be happier in Russia. It seems to be the place where they're constantly dick riding. Meteorologists tracking the advance of Hurricane Milton have been targeted by a deluge of conspiracy theories that they were controlling the weather, abuse, and even death threats amid what they say is an unprecedented surge in misinformation as two major hurricanes have hit the U.S. A series of falsehoods and threats have swirled in the 2 weeks since Hurricane Helene tore through 6 states, causing several hundred deaths, followed by Milton crashing into Florida on Wednesday. The extent of misinformation, which has been stoked by Donald Trump and his followers, has been such that it has stymied the ability to help hurricane-hit communities, according to the head of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA. Katie Nicolau, a Michigan-based meteorologist, said that she and her colleagues have borne the brunt of much of these conspiracies, having received messages claiming there are Category 6 hurricanes, there aren't, that meteorologists or the government are creating and directing hurricanes, they aren't, and even that scientists should be killed and radar equipment be demolished. Quote, I've never seen a storm garner so much misinformation. We have just been putting out fires of wrong information everywhere, Nicolau said. Quote, I have had a bunch of people saying I created and steered the hurricane. There are people assuming we control the weather. I have had to point out that a hurricane has the energy of 10,000 nuclear bombs, and we can't hope to control that. But it's taken a turn to more violent rhetoric, especially with people saying those who created Milton should be killed. One post aimed at Nicolau said, stop the breathing of those that made them and their affiliates. She responded, murdering meteorologists won't stop hurricanes. I can't believe I just had to type that. People have called me a plethora of curse words. People telling me to shut up and sit down. People who think it's okay to take out Doppler radar because they think it's controlling the weather, Nicolau said. It is eating up a lot of work and free time to deal with all of this. It's very tiring. A wide range of misinformation has been spread as Helene and then Milton gathered pace in the Gulf of Mexico, such as claims spread by Trump that FEMA had run out of cash for hurricane survivors because it has been given to illegal immigrants. Violent threats have also become more common, with posts across TikTok, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter, alleging that FEMA workers should be beaten or arrested or shot or hung on sight. More outlandishly, several of Trump's closest allies have basically asserted that the federal government is somehow controlling hurricanes. Hurricane Helene was an attack caused by weather manipulation, claimed a video shared by Michael Flynn, a former national security advisor to Trump. Quote, yes, they can control the weather, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a far-right congresswoman, wrote on X last week. It's ridiculous for anyone to lie and say it can't be done. And speaking of that, I feel like this is the perfect time to introduce Bill Nye. That is right. Bill Nye went on to CNN. Because the guy who has made himself, I mean, everyone knows him as Bill Nye the Science Guy, but I feel like more know him now as Bill Nye the Climate Change Guy at this point. He is one of the most prominent science popularizers in human history, like ever. And on top of that, he has made it his mission to make sure that the generation who grew up on his content and future generations know that climate change is real and it is a real problem, and there is no debate or argument to be had on that topic. It needs to be addressed. And so Bill Nye went on CNN to directly address the insane conspiracy mongering around these hurricanes. I cannot wait. I love Bill Nye, so he's gonna cook here, obviously. Let's let the king cook.
The Southeast is in storm recovery mode after two deadly hurricanes in just 2 weeks. A new study shows that ultra-warm water in the Gulf of Mexico supercharged Helene and human-caused climate change. Of course, likely heated up that water. A lot to discuss with our next guest, Bill Nye, the Science Guy. He's also part of the Too Hot Not to Vote campaign and to engage and educate voters on climate change and clean energy. Bill, I mean, as a news guy, I guess we have to couch things and say likely to do this and likely to do. I mean, but with how much certainty can we say, yes, climate change is heating up the Gulf and supercharging these hurricanes?
Well, there's no question that climate change is heating up the Gulf. That's proven. The question is, does an
In fact, the Gulf is important for a lot of reasons that he's probably going to explain better than I can. But the Gulf of Mexico is a really shallow sea, and it's also where a lot of weather events form. And so changes to the water temperature are going to be catastrophic for Florida. From Florida's fishing industry, the fact that like the warming ocean is leading to mass die-offs and more red tide and whatnot, to the fact that like the massive warming is going to lead to even worse, higher magnitude hurricanes. It's going to get way worse.
Individual storm a result of climate change? Well, in this case, yes, because it's the heat. The heat that's in the water that got there from the heat that's held in the atmosphere that was held in on account of carbon dioxide principally, and also other greenhouse gases like methane, natural gas. And so this is an extraordinary storm that was 300 nautical miles wide. This is a remarkable thing. And I just heard a previous segment. Everybody, the water's going to continue to rise because
why is that?
The rain fell in a very, very large area. It's like a giant funnel, and so it's draining toward the sea, and it takes several days. So the sheriff was there reminding people that the water's still going to go up. Counterintuitive. It stopped raining, but the water level's still going to rise. That's science. And
Which
so
is scary.
It's scary,
That's the situation we went over in that one flooded neighborhood.
I'm not telling you guys who are living through it, but the water, we think water is what gives us life, is what sustains us. That's true. But too much of this good thing is deadly.
And, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he's been pushing back on the climate's role in these stronger storms. Let's take a listen to that and talk about it.
Yeah, I just
Obviously,
think people
Republicans
should put this in perspective. They try to take different things that happen with tropical weather and act like it's something. There's nothing
it's
new
just
under
that
the
crazy
sun.
tropical weather.
This is something that the state has dealt with for its entire history, and it's something that we'll continue to deal with. I think what's changed is,
like I said before, when I was covering the video of the people whose trailers had been ripped apart and how they were talking about just rebuilding in the same spot, they're like, don't you know another hurricane is coming either later this year or next year that's going to do the same thing all over again? Why are you rebuilding? Why not move? It's because these people don't believe in what the scientists are saying. They've seen what has been promised happen right in front of them, and they're still willing to memory hole everything and just say it's a fluke. Hell, they're willing to make this entire situation evidence against climate change, in favor of the idea it's a massive conspiracy, one so deep it justifies them murdering anyone who claims climate change is real and tries to help the survivors. That is how far these people have taken it, and how unwilling they are to take the L and admit they've been wrong for decades.
we've got 23 million people.
Yeah, Bill, what do you have to say to that? I mean,
that's a sinkhole.
We could just show our viewers, and they can look this up on their own, that, the frequency of these powerful hurricanes has picked up over the last couple of decades.
Well, absolutely. The other thing is, objectively, the water in the Gulf is warmer than it's ever been. And so this is what the word everybody throws around is fuels hurricanes, but this provides the energy that allows the cool air, relatively cool air, to squeeze the warm air up, which starts these enormous storms becoming wider and wider. And then the spin of the earth and gravity of the earth causes the storm to spin. And that's what makes these extraordinary seawalls, extraordinary waves of water, storm surges, come ashore on the southeast part of this storm, and then pull water out of the Tampa Bay on the.
So because the storm's a vortex, and the part of the storm where the vortex was hitting the state's coast, that's where everything comes in. But on the north side of the eye, which is where we were looking at the first videos I showed off, where they had less damage, the water was actually getting pulled away. It was getting blown out to sea and then circulated around and down south by this massive vortex. And so you had these areas north of the eye where instead of it being flooded, it's insane rain, and like way past even the deepest part of all the piers, the water is like receded. And you can see like all the rocks and all the sand and pebbles and everything beneath the water way further out than even the lowest of low tides, because it rips all that water away and displaces it somewhere else where it's not supposed to be. That's why there's such a massive storm surge with hurricanes. But then on top of that, he's talking about the rain and how the rain went all across the state. It's soaked into the aquifer. It's just around in bodies of water, and it's going to take a while, days, to drain away from inland out to the coastal areas, which are already flooded, where they're going to experience water level rises along the coastal river areas that lead out to the ocean. It's going to take a while for all of that water pressure to relieve and to move through, and that's going to mean rising water levels for days after the hurricane. And this is the norm now. When future hurricanes of this magnitude, which are the norm now, hit, this is what the recovery is going to be like. It's not going to be like, the hurricane's over, time to start fixing things up, get ready for the next one. No. It's going to be days of everything soaked underwater. Like, you don't even get to start recovery until day 4. That's the situation now. That's where we're at.
Northwestern side. And this is very well understood, and this is a result of satellite imagery and ground-based assets that enable us to monitor these things. And so everybody is very serious. It's going to get more and more serious. And of course, we, as citizens of the U.S., will work to help people who are affected by this storm in Florida, North Carolina, and so on. And our hearts go out to you. But we've got to face this problem. And so everybody, this is what I'm saying right now. What can you do about climate change if you're not there, if you're anywhere, is vote. Vote with the climate in mind.
This is why I've always emphasized, like, you can be an activist and you can try to be like the direct action guy, but at the end of the day, the biggest impact you'll ever have is with your vote. And the biggest brain cancer, toxic cancer tumor that ever came out of the online left was the idea that voting is an inferior form of political action to literally anything. The idea that there is any form of political action, like, that is legal, I should say, that anyone would reasonably do, that is more impactful than voting, is a genuine brain rot. It is an idea enforced by either ignorance, laziness, or both. Voting truly is the most impactful way you can affect the world in a positive way. And that is why Bill Nye has always said the best thing you can do, even more than replacing your light bulbs with those like LEDs that use less energy or getting an electric car, is to vote with the climate in mind, because everything starts from the policy level down. And he knows that. He recognizes that's where the change happens, from the policy level down. And you got to vote to have any changes in policy. You can't let Republicans have any power if we're ever going to have changes in policy when it comes to climate. And Bill Nye gets that. And so he just encourages people to vote. Just fucking vote.
And Bill, I do want to ask you about, and you know, you don't want to give crazy things too much oxygen, but you also have to knock things down that aren't true when they're...
Voting is also the bare minimum action. I'd say it's the bare minimum in that, like, everyone should do it, yes, but also, no. Like, I don't think someone's doing nothing if they just vote. They are doing the most important thing, the most impactful thing they can do. There is literally nothing else they could do that besides, I guess, try to change history forever, if you know what I mean. That's more impactful than voting.
Gaining steam.
And you can say it's the bare minimum, but we have insanely low voter turnout in this country, so not really, no. Like, encouraging people to vote is actually a massive, massive important thing, because the majority of people in this country don't vote, and the people who don't vote lean on having voted, not Republican, Democrat if they did. They would have voted Dem if they were to vote at all.
And Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is standing by these crazy claims that the government can control the weather, which we know is not true. But as a scientist, can you help us understand why that is false? And I know it just sounds ridiculous for me to even ask the question, but help us out.
Well, it's false because of the size of it. The amount of energy in a storm like Milton is more than every military in the world put together at the same time. It's just, the expression is physically impossible. And this is intuitive, you know, as Samuel Clemens, Mark Twain, everybody talks about the weather, nobody does anything about it. But we have a chance to do something about it. And what's happened is here in the United States, we have created these gerrymandered congressional districts where people who do not win the popular vote, have fewer votes, are able to get elected. And by promulgating these extraordinary, this misinformation, they're able to get reelected, and it plays on people's grievances and frustrations. And I understand that, but we got to turn this around. It's going to take quite a while, but we've got to turn it around. It's in everybody's best interest. And I remind people that when we're talking about disasters like this and the millions of people affected, the United States is the world's third most populous country. We have 1/3 of a billion people here. And so we have to work together to help each other out. This sounds intuitive, but it's a real
during
thing.
The break,
you know,
during the break, Bill,
control the weather.
The government does not. I have to go, but during the break, you and I were talking about how, you know, we have ties to the D.C. area and everything. And what I know from growing up is that there are a lot of wonderful people who work in the government, and they just would not do things like that to harm their fellow Americans. But anyway, I'll get off my soapbox, go to a break. Bill, we'll stick to the science. Thanks.
You know what? Well, people talk about, speaking of science, people talk about what makes you happy, what makes you live a long life. And it's when you're contributing, when you're helping people out, so-called egalitarian and so on. And so people who work in the government, civil servants, what the other side refers to as the deep state, they do it not for the money, they do it because it gives them satisfaction to make the world better. All right, back.
Exactly.
Everybody, please vote. If you know young people, please get out the vote. Let's do this. Thanks very much.
I love that he snuck in that last bit there. Like, please fucking vote. If you're young especially, get out there and vote. God. Yeah, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. I really do hope we get to see a good outcome in this election. I hope all these factors that have come together in the last 4 years help to undo some of the damage done by the memory holing of Trump's presidency, and people realize just how bad it would be if we had another Trump presidency, and how much better a Kamala Harris presidency really would be. I hope people realize that. But yeah, with that said, if you enjoyed this segment and you liked the debunking of all this misinfo and conspiracy nonsense, then please consider leaving a like on the video or the stream, whichever you're watching. It really does help a ton. And of course, consider commenting down below, as it boosts the channel a lot in the algorithm as well, as does subscribing and ringing the bell icon to turn on all notifications, so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload a new video. And of course, consider following my social medias linked down below in the description if you want to see me on other platforms. And don't forget to join my fan Discord if you haven't already. It's the main hub of my community. I host game events, call-in streams, and watch parties there, when I'll be hosting in just a little bit, actually. So make sure you're already in the Discord if you're not already. We're going to be watching the first 3 episodes of Season 3 of From in the Discord in about probably 5 to 10 minutes. So yeah, I hope to see a lot of you guys there. It's going to be a great time. Please join the Discord. And of course, if you want to support me directly financially, you've got the money for it and you feel like it, and you want to help me keep a roof above my head and the lights on here at the Xander Hall studio, then consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, StreamElements, Patreon, or buying merch at the Streamlabs link down below. But regardless of how you support me, thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Yo, Adrian Knight, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, hey Zan man, just checking in, bro. How you doing? P.S. I'm a trucker and gotta drive from Atlanta up to Asheville, North Carolina. Wish me luck. Oh, good God, I'm sorry. I hope you've got, like, one of those apps that tells you about road closures. That's gonna be a rough one. Good luck, my friend. Though I will say, having a job as a trucker and listening to podcasts and streams all day while driving around the country does sound pretty fun. Besides having to use the bathroom and also getting tired. That's when I think it gets a lot less fun. At least the way I imagine it. Anyway, Pepper221, thank you for the $5 reduce. I really appreciate that as well. Thank you, thank you. Said, if it's any consolation about America, Zan, you get automatic citizenship when I theoretically build my own island nation using this method. Wait, really? Umenoshima is a district in Koto, Tokyo, Japan, consisting of an artificial island built using waste landfill in Tokyo Bay. It is not the first such island in the bay. At current fill rates, there will be no more room for waste landfill in the bay without affecting shipping lanes by around 2050. Likewise, Osaka Bay and Ise Bay are slowly being consumed by waste landfill islands. And it's just like a nice little island. You would never think it was made out of garbage. That's so weird. That's so weird. Like, the idea of an island made of trash that's, like, not... I assume not horrible, awful for the environment. It probably is in a way, but, like... They're growing shit on it. FML, gotta restart my computer. All good, Heavy Gretel. We're wrapping up stream anyway, so it's actually kind of good timing out of anything else. Yeah, just Plastic Beach, literally. Yeah, the Gorillaz album. Let me update the dono goal really fast to reflect you guys' amazing generosity. An island made of trash? You mean, Gorillaz? You talking about the song and the Gorillaz? Or are you talking about Great Britain? Man, I forgot to Zan something, but I'm too much of a bitch. I forgot to Zan something. Do you mean you forgot to send Zan something? Is that what you mean to say? That reminds me of the one SpongeBob episode where Squidward has a house made of garbage. It's pretty good. All right, everybody. Listen. Y'all have been amazing today. And as usual, since I did stream yesterday, there'll be no stream tomorrow, but there will be a stream the day after tomorrow, so keep that in mind. I hope to see you guys there. But before I wrap up, I want you all to know that we are doing a watch party in just a few moments in my Discord server. I'm going to be hosting it in the Xander's Theater section. One sec. I am going to be hosting it in the Xander's Theater chat in my Discord server. Let me go ahead and give it a name really fast, though. From Season 3 Watch Party. Woo! Start the little thing so people can start hopping in. I'll also type up the announcement now. Why not? At everyone. Stream is now over, but watch party is starting in the Xander's Theater VC. We are watching the season premiere of From. So get in here and get spooked. I'm going to find an image for the show too. Stream is now over, but watch party is starting in the Xander's Theater VC. We are watching the season 3 premiere of From. So get in here and get spooked. Let's find an image. From season 3. Let's see, what's a good image? Alrighty. Okay, everybody. I now have the announcement set up, so I hope a lot of you hop into the watch party. It's going to be a great time. I'm already in there, so we're literally starting it up in just a few moments. I hope to see you guys there with that said. And yeah, I love you all very much. Thank you for the support today. You guys have been overwhelmingly generous. No stream tomorrow, but I will be streaming the day after tomorrow, so I very much hope to see you guys there. And as always, have a good one, and I love you all very much. Doo-doo fart!